Okay, folks, we'll be along in just a moment. Myself and Nanogirl. I hope you're looking forward to this one half as much as I am, because this is going to rock. So stand by. We'll be with you in 2 short moments. There we go, folks. There we go. I don't know what that dramatic music is all about there, but I am Kev Baker, and this is our live Kev Baker show right here on YouTube. Now then, I've got Nanogirl here with me tonight. I know you're all pleased to hear. So this is going to be absolutely fantastic, I think. I hope. Dodger, big shout out to you, brother. Thank you very, very much, sir. But then, without any further ado then, let me go live to Silicon Valley over in California, USA, to my good friend, the one and only Nanogirl. How you doing, sister?
Hey, I am doing awesome. How are you? It's actually a little break in the rain today, a little bit chilly, but I'm cozy in the house. Isn't it great we can actually do these shows at home? It's fantastic. It's amazing.
I really do think it's great. I truly do. I've just tried to find you. I think I've got about 3 different chats open on the screen. So we'll get there, Nano. We'll get there. There we go. We're getting there now. So, Nano, we kind of organised this a few weeks ago. A lot's been happening in the news, in the technology front, and trends. We're going to be touching on a few of those tonight. But to open up today's show, it was a response that we got from our last live stream that you wanted to start with. And I'm going to bring a lady's comment up on the screen so people can see that, see what we're talking about. But do you want to talk us through what we're starting with here, Nano, as to Barbara's comment?
Yeah, I went back and looked at comments last week, I think, and I saw her comment. And let me just read this to you. It just says, Kev, you and Nanogirl discussed what you phrased as being out of whack and out of kilter. And Nanogirl described her challenges with her equilibrium and passing out. I have had the identical problem she's described, and I thought I was alone and just losing my mind, like I'm in the early stages of dementia or something, and just hanging on for dear life every minute of every day on autopilot. I've wondered how come it is that those I know don't mention any of this regarding themselves, and concluded I've just become horribly sick in a very short matter of months. I too changed my diet identically to hers, other than I don't eat chocolates or sweets because I don't have a sweet tooth, but cannot say it has made an obvious or appreciable difference for me. Anyway, Nanogirl has encouraged me tremendously. Thank you, Barbara. And that I know I'm not alone and I'm not losing my mind and balance, but rather there is something else affecting my well-being. Kev, can you do a follow-up show about this and maybe take a poll with your viewers as to the symptoms and experiences they're having. I'm just thinking there are a lot of people who are suffering in secret and need to know it's prolific and not individual. Thank you, Kevin, Nanogirl. So, man, I was really touched by this. And so let me give you a quick update. I don't remember the last time we did our show. Do you think it was a month, Kev?
Probably about then, and I'm not sure even, was it our show on TFR or was it the live stream here? I mean, both were about a month or so ago, weren't they?
I think, yeah. So, anyway, I don't think I talked about my second episode. I think I talked about my first one. So I had 2 episodes together, all together. And in both of them, to borrow the phrase from Jimmy Kirch, I just had a fade to black moment twice. And literally passed out and woke up like just the first time I smashed my face and the second time I smashed my head and cut the back of my head open. So, I mean, I must have just like passed out so much and just fallen backwards. So here's some interesting anomalies that I have been looking at since I had the second adventure, and why her email touched me so much. There is a show called, let's see, the name of it is Removing the Shackles. And Danny Arnold is the owner of that site. I've been listening to her for about 6 months. Danny focuses on people's feelings, trends that she's seeing within her Facebook, and the people that write to her about the effects of what's going on in the changes on the planet. And this whole thing started for me in October or November, so now we're on to almost 4 months. I think I mentioned the last time that there are 3 of us in my job currently that are having the exact same symptoms and are having the same kind of events. So this second event happened when Danny was also taking a look at some of the changes that are going on the planet. And what did she call them? Let's see here. When we have the geomagnetic changes and it looks like a great big, those things where they can monitor it. Well, she's been monitoring it, and some of the weekends were pretty intense. So here's what kind of cued me into something. The weekend where I think she did 2 YouTubes on it, that's when I had my second event. And it was a Sunday night, and I just like passed out. Both events happened between midnight and 2, which I think is really odd.
That is weird.
And then my colleague had one on Monday night. So I had it Sunday night, she had it on Monday night, and she hadn't had an episode in 2 years. So the 3 of us were talking last week, and I said, guys, I'm sorry. I said 2 of us with this insanity is a coincidence, and 3 is a trend. And they laughed at me. And then we started talking about the people in our family that also have dizziness. And so my son suffers from this, my granddaughter, the woman I was talking to, her ex-husband has it. So it seems to be growing, and that it seems to be a bigger issue than people realize. And so anyway, this last week, Danny started talking about these articles. And what did she say? She said that there was a couple of articles, which I think I sent you on one, where there's one magnetic pole, one in Canada and one in Siberia. And the one in Siberia is winning now with the greater pull. The South Atlantic anomaly magnetic reversal has already happened in the South Atlantic. Symptoms of these events are volcanoes, radical changes in weather patterns, hurricanes, freezing, massive hailstorms, earthquakes, symptoms in humans. Frequency impact, heart attacks, dizziness, suicides, pets dying, strokes, psychotic breaks, rage. So the other thing, like I said, she's on twice a week. She's on Monday morning and Thursday mornings. And I usually try to catch her the first 15 minutes and just kind of get an update of what she's talking about. She's saying she's seeing a lot of pets who are dying, suicides, people not being able to cope and stuff. So, again, to kind of wrap this up, Barbara, you're not alone. I don't think this is something everybody's talking about. I don't hear or see articles where the government or some of our technical institutions, i.e. NASA, are giving us any kind of Earth updates. I know Suspicious Observers is kind of going out there and they're talking about this. And I think, Kev, you've talked about it on your show, correct?
We've spoke about this a couple of times now, quite a few times actually, and I think myself and most of the people I've had on, spoke with Joe, spoke with Scotty Lopez, and he likes to keep his eye on this kind of stuff. Jimmy, Johnny, I think everyone that I'm speaking to, and this sounds weird, it sounds like a statistical anomaly, but everyone is feeling this whole out of whack. I think we've kind of coined that term now. This out of whack way that people are feeling. And I can't prove it, Nano. Obviously, I can't prove it. But I would say that it's a lot to do with what's going on with the magnetics. We've got a heck of a lot of metals floating about in our brains now as well, because there's articles out there saying how all the pollution that we're breathing in. And of course, they don't mention the chemtrails or any of the other toxic muck, but just with the pollution alone, we're breathing in dangerous metals now. If we've got metals floating about inside our minds, and we're electromagnetic beings, and we live on a planet that's tuned to a magnetic frequency, I mean, I don't know, maybe I don't think it's a stretch to think that we would start to experience problems. Now, would it be this out of whack, out of kilter kind of explanation that me and Nano like to give? I honestly do think so. I really, really do. And I'm really following Suspicious Observers quite closely right now, because he's doing something called I think it's the Ice Age cycle, something like that. And I really do think we're entering a period of not maybe great cataclysmic earth changes, but certainly things that are going to take a toll on people. We're starting to feel it now. And I don't want to scare people, Nano, because I don't know what the ramifications of something like this would be. I've heard everything from nothing would really happen to us or you know, our daily life, all the way through to people saying that, well, this could literally lead to a crustal shift. So I don't know what happens to the planet per se, but I definitely think all of these things are connected. And look at the insanity of people as well. People seem to be getting crazier in a world that's already crazy.
I think I agree with you. So, I mean, I'm not going to go into the planetary disruptions or what, you know, any of that kind of stuff. I agree with you, but I think that, I mean, if you take someone like me who's had pretty darn good health, who's, you know, watch what they eat and, you know, exercise, and all of a sudden, boom, these just, I would use violent in a way. It just feels like this violent dizzy spell where you just completely pass out. I mean, it's just like
Nano,
crazy.
We've got somebody in the chat room, Prince Plowman, saying HARP might be messing with the Schumann frequency, resonating the ionosphere with the wrong frequencies, like 440 hertz instead of 432 in music. And we definitely know that they are using things like HARP. And I always like to point out that HARP's maybe one of, I think it was 72 ionospheric heaters around the world. And that was at one point a few years ago. Probably even more now. And then there's technologies that have come after HARP as well. So we definitely know they're messing about with the jet stream, with the atmosphere, as well as the natural changes that are going on with the magnetic field as well.
Yeah. And one of the things Danny recommended we all look up is heliobiology. And it's not easy to find.
Is that like biological effects that are kind of associated to the sun?
Yes.
See?
Yes.
See? Clever,
so one of the things see how smart you are. I know. It's like you're already there. One of the things they stated was evidence indicates that wars. Now this is for the solar cycle, but and just the solar eruptions. Evidence indicates that wars and international conflicts most often break out when sunspots are rapidly forming or rapidly decaying, and as these are times when there are more intense geomagnetic storms. Well, we're definitely having more geomagnetic activity, and I have to say, I have never seen the Congress so insane. I mean, if there was ever a live, you know, a reality show of what's going on, it's the Congress. It's the government.
It's funny you should say that, because all the way through our Brexit debacle over here as well.
Yeah.
I think for anyone with eyes to see, anyone that's kind of semi-awake, it's turned into pure theatre. It's almost obvious now the levels of theatre that are going on. And it's funny you mentioned that it's almost on a par over in the US as well. And I know we're going to be talking about the State of the Union tonight. I've seen them all dressed in white and all that jazz going on. So, Nano, talk to us about what on earth's name is going on in America right now.
Okay, so let me put this to bed. So, anyway, quick comment before we end this. So, Barbara, if you catch this later, I hope this helps. Check out some of the articles on what's going on in heliobiology. And I think you're going to find the more that you talk to people, you're going to find that there's a lot of us out there going through the exact same thing right now. You are definitely not alone, that's for sure. Okay, so what is going on over here in the land of, you know, I don't know about these guys, but do they realize, I guess they don't, that when they dress up like white, I guess, I didn't even know they were supposed to be suffragettes. I didn't know suffragettes dressed in white.
Is that what it was all about? I had no idea. I had no idea.
Supposedly. They look like, I said this last year because they dressed in white last year, that all I can see is either nurses or See's Candy ladies. You know, the See's Candy ladies over here that you work in the See's Candy stores, you have to wear white like that. Oh, God. No offense to anyone who might be working at See's. I love your candy store. But when I see a sea of white like that, that's all I can think of.
Yeah, I've got them up on screen now for people to see. Yeah, quite bizarre.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. And it's really a sad statement, in my opinion. And, you know, they're supposed to go to Congress and represent everybody. Maybe a quote-unquote party got you through and got you in there. But, I mean, this is supposed to be the house of the people. This is not supposed to be the house of the crazy. So, I don't know. You know, I thought it was really sad. Did you have the Pelosi picture that we can kind of share with people?
Yes, we do. I will bring her up right now.
Thank you very much. I did want to make a comment about this one. The only way I could watch the State of the Union address is I had to hide. That's our buddy.
Yes,
we're talking about.
I'll get rid of her. We'll get up the one you're after. You know me, Nanogirl.
We're gonna have a true confession moment when we get to her.
Yeah. Here she is. Here she is. My favorite broomstick traveling person in the whole of Washington. I really want her to get into the office so that I can make up Broomstick 1 photoshops.
Okay, now first of all, I don't know if you noticed, but this is a tweet from her daughter. And out of everything anybody said about Ms. Pelosi, and like I said, I had to set up my computer to hide her face. She picked up the speech about 45 times. She rolled her eyes. She made horrible faces behind him. The camera panned on her the entire time. I thought, could you act your, well, what is she, 742 now?
At least.
Evidently not. God. Anyway, so this is a tweet from her daughter on this clap, this really weird clap. So here's Christine Pelosi, and I quote, "Oh yes, that clap took me back to the teen years. She knows, and she knows that you know. And frankly, she's disappointed that you thought this would work. But here's the clap."
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought, you know, out of
and
every
this is her own
single
daughter.
thing,
This is her own daughter saying that.
well, this is not the first thing that she said that's this dark.
No, she is.
Oh my
I've seen a couple of things from her before. She's she should maybe stay away from a microphone. She's quite incendiary. You never quite know what she's going to say, the daughter, from what I've experienced. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've got the wrong person. But she seems to cause shockwaves not long ago when she said something in the news.
She did say something. She said something along the lines of, "My mother will walk by you and like slit your throat and you'll never know it even happened," or some really like something that Nancy would do to just get rid of you and move on, and you would never know it hit you. But the thing about this, and this is one of the reasons I get so incensed with this current crop of freaks that are in there right now, is it's one thing for her daughter to have gotten this from her mother, although this is really cruel from a mother to a daughter, in my opinion, that her mother would ever even treat her like this. But we're not Nancy Pelosi's children, okay? We're not. I pay taxes. I have to pay bills. I have a job. And I don't work for her. And so it's like, you know, you condescending little witch, we are not your children. But
listen, folks, I have never ever heard Nanogirl quite as animated as she has been. Not just before the show, but now that we're on the show as well. Honestly, it's something that's really, really got under Nanogirl's skin. And that in itself really is indicative not only of the out of whackness that everyone's feeling, right? But just the state of things in America. And, you know, this is what politics does to people. And that's why I really have to, I had to pull away from it a while ago, Nanogirl, as you know. I like to comment on it, but when I start to look at it closely, I just end up with steam coming out my ears. And a big, huge shout out to Unirock in the chat room as well. Two of Unirock's biggest fans here on the Kev Baker Show today. Wouldn't you agree, Nano?
I would definitely agree, Mr. Uni. Love it. I've been a big fan of your show, and I try to show up there every night and get a dose of Unirock reality.
Absolutely, and we're going to be commenting on some of Unirock's work later on, because myself and Nano both feel that people are so quick to criticise people like Uni for pointing out the hard, cold truth, yet not enough people are willing to go on camera and back the guy up for a really good job, and that's something I'm determined to do. I mentioned it to Nanogirl as well. So we'll be getting into more of that later on, but we'll get back to the Wicked Witch of Washington. I mean, Nancy Pelosi.
Hey, I've been this mad and animated off and on. I have. In the years I've been on your show.
I would not want to be Nancy Pelosi if she walked into the same room as you. She would just
slough me off like a piece of fluff. I don't even breathe the same air as that woman does. She's got her own military jet now. She loves being the Speaker of the House.
Broomstick one. Told you.
I know. So, anyway, I'm not going to dwell very long on the State of the Union. It was depressing to listen to it, to be quite honest with you. The best part for me were the last 4 or 5 minutes where Trump said, you know, we're not a socialist nation. And I have no intention of letting you turn us into one.
Did you see Bernie Sanders' face when he started all of that talk? It really looked, great. Yeah, it looked like he was wanting to crawl up one of his own orifices to get out of the place. It was quite funny.
Did you see AOC's face too?
Nanogirl, you know I was watching AOC religiously. We disagree. We finally disagree on something. And I suppose I should really bring up my favourite politician's cartoon right now, because I know you've got a lot to say about this character, Nanogirl.
I do. But I'm going to give her a fair... which one are you doing? Let me see. Oh, yeah, the one where she looks like the donkey. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So to end my SOC thing, I State of the Union, big kudos to Trump for a couple things. Number one, actually saying the obvious. He called us a republic. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, because that's what we are. I love the fact that, you know, he said, and we, you know, we're not into killing little babies. And I thought, good for you. You know, he kind of said the obvious. And it's really sad to me, and this will be my last statement on this, that he doesn't get a fair shake in the press. Nobody does. But I mean, the 72% at least approval rating over the State of the Union.
You know what really shocked me? The fact that obviously you expect the Republicans to back him, to really approve of his speech. You expect the Democrats to hate it. But it was the undecideds, the independents. He absolutely won about, I think it was 80% approval from that group of voters. So that in itself, I mean, that's pretty significant, Nanogirl.
Well, considering how he walked in the House and how she canceled his event, and then she said, oh, yeah, you can come back, when you looked at all that Kabuki theater stuff, you know, I got to hand it to the guy. He knows how to play the game. He knows how to play the game, and he must love the game, because I would hate the game. Personally, I don't like games like that, but the guy knows how to play the game. And by the way, I lied. I have one more comment. I heard yesterday, I don't know how true this is, that there isn't going to be another shutdown, that because of the approval rating and the fact that he spent so much time on talking about the wall, that he is going to get his wall, and he's going to get it financed. And that is a coup. I mean, if you ask me, good way to go. Do you love that cartoon? Is that great? That's from Willy Wonka.
You know I don't love that cartoon. Of course I love that cartoon. It's funny,
I love that cartoon.
So
I have so many more cartoons.
You're not a big AOC fan, are you? You're just not the biggest fan of AOC, and I think she might be the one female in the world that probably riles you up more than old witch Pelosi, wouldn't you say?
I would say that's probably true. I would say that's probably very true.
Nano's trying not to
ashamed admit it,
explode.
but yes,
So come on, what's going on with her? Because I've got a sneaky suspicion that she is going to be groomed or is being groomed for high office. I really do think she's got a big career in Washington. Not because I personally like her politics or anything like that. I'm not jumping on the politics just because I like her, not at all. No. However, I do think she's a character to be watched. What would you say to that?
Well, yes. And so let's slip over to AOC. I felt like, and I know I mentioned to this on the show, and when I listened to Dark Journalist last night, and as I mentioned to Kev before the show, Dark Journalist was being very calm when he was talking about her.
I don't think Nanogirl can keep that calmness. I really don't. I'm impressed so far, Nano.
It's a family show. We're keeping calm. I was impressed that he stayed calm, and I think that people, seriously, with all due seriousness, people can hear you better when you're not screeching. So I'm going to stay calm, and I want to give her a fair shake in the sense of, who is this person? And I think you're right. I think big things are planned for her, and I think she's going to make a huge impact. I'm not saying that I'm approving of any of that, but this isn't my game, right? This isn't my party, it's hers. And so I want to give her a fair shake, and I want people to understand who she is, because this is not someone to blow off. And I've listened to people they've been blowing her off, and I'm thinking, don't blow her off. She's here to stay. She has backing, and I think she's backed by the UN. I think that the Agenda 2030 people love this girl. There was an article on The Hill, that's the big Washington, D.C. newspaper, totally supporting her new Green Deal, which is, to me, her little manifesto. So let me give you a little background, a little bit of highlights on the new Green Deal and how I think it's going to be used. And that's part of our trend show tonight. It's because this afternoon, we're talking about trends. So anyway, she's 29. She's a Libra. She was born on October 13th, 1989, into a Catholic family. She was born in New York in the Bronx, and she has a brother. Now, this is the part dedicated to Kev. This little paragraph here, Kev's going to love this. She attended Yorktown High School, graduating in 2007. She won second prize in the Intel International Science and Engineering Fair.
So she's a geek?
Yes.
Oh, Nanogirl. Don't do this to me.
I'm not done. Wait. There's more. But there's more. She won the engineering fair with a microbiology research project on the effects of antioxidants on the lifespan of a nematode C. elegans. I don't know what that is. It
sounds good, though. It sounds good. It sounds like it's something really intelligent, so we'll give her that.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, this is so Kev right here. In a show of appreciation for her efforts, the International Astronomical Union named a small asteroid after her. 23238 Ocasio-Cortez asteroid.
Wait a minute. I mean, I know she's on an astronomical rise to power, but she's got a comet named after her?
No, an asteroid.
An asteroid, no less.
It's 23238 Ocasio-Cortez.
Wow. Well, there's people in the chat room shouting for Nanogirl to be president. And
oh my God!
Hey, listen. See since they let a Kenyan in the White House and Obama, could I be like your number two? Could I be like a fake American like him?
Yes.
Awesome.
I could have you. You can work for me.
I said Nano Baker run for the White House.
Nano Baker? Oh yes. Oh, but you'd have to be the chief of staff. I'd let you be the chief of staff.
No, I'd probably be better.
No, you're very good with people.
I'll go the science officer. I'll sort that NASA mob out. But anyway, back to Miss Cortez. Yeah. I'm quite keen because I'd never heard this about her before. I've obviously heard all of the kind of mainstream. It's either people love her or hate her, but they never really get into who she is.
And I think this is important, and I thought it was a very fair way. Now, I personally think this fact that she has an asteroid named after her is key. I mean that with all due respect. She is kind of, like you said, she's an asteroid. She's someone who's going to be streaking across the sky. So it was kind of a, what do you call that? A fate, portends to what's coming in your life.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so she did a lot of good stuff in high school. She volunteered for all kinds of political stuff. While she was a sophomore at Boston University, her father died of lung cancer, which was a very life-changing event for her. During college, she served as an intern in the immigration office during final years of Senator Ted Kennedy's tenure. Now this is another important event in her life here. This is also part of her Green Manifesto. I was the only Spanish speaker, and as a result, as a kid, at 20-year-old kid, whenever a frantic call would come into the office because someone is looking for their husband because they have been snatched off the street by ICE. And she wants them disbanded, by the way. So that was pretty impactful for somebody 19 and 20.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought, this is key. She graduated cum laude from Boston University College of Arts, and she has huge college fund tuitions that she has to pay back. And she again, on her Green Manifesto, everybody should have free college. When her father died and intestate, that's when you don't have a will, I think. She became involved in a long probate battle to settle his estate. She has said that the experience helped her learn firsthand how attorneys appointed by the court to administer his estate can enrich themselves at the expense of the family struggling to make sense of the bureaucracy. Another key event in her life. Let's see. She worked as a bartender in Manhattan and a waitress in Taqueria. Her mother, meanwhile, cleaned houses and drove the school buses. When her dad died, there was no money. And she said that her mother and her had to fight foreclosure of their home. She did a lot of things. She did a lot more stuff than just work in a bar. I've heard people say, well, she had this great education and she only worked in a bar. She was doing a lot more than that. She sounds like she was taking care of her mom. She launched a Book Avenue Express, a publishing firm for books that portray the Bronx in a positive light. She worked as a lead educational strategist at GAGIS, G-A-G-I-S. She worked in the nonprofit National Hispanic Institute. She served as an educational director. So she did a lot of stuff. In 2016, for the primary, she worked as an organizer for Bernie Sanders. And then this was the changing point. She took a trip across America. She visited Flint, Michigan, Standing Rock Indian Reservation, Flint Water Crisis, Dakota Access Pipeline. In her Green Manifesto, there's clean water for all. It's part of this. In an interview, she recalled her visit to Standing Rock as a tipping point, saying that before that, she had believed that the only way to effectively run for office was if you had access to wealth, social influence, and power. But her visit to North Dakota, where she saw others putting their whole lives and everything that they had on the line for protection of her community, inspired her to begin work for her own community. So this is kind of where I think she's pretty smart. And so you look at her whole life and some of these major events that have shaped her. And then you look at this Green Manifesto thing, or the new Green Deal, she calls it, and you can see where she gets all of these pieces that she's so passionate about. The other person I want to mention before we kind of go over the Green Manifesto a little bit is S.O.T.U. Chakrabarti, and I'm sorry, I am screwing up his name, and I apologize. But
I would screw it up as well, Nano. Don't you worry about that.
So he is the power he's one of the brains behind the storm. He is now her chief of staff. He's the one that helped her get elected. Let's see. Here's some of his quotes. We, in all part of a broader strategy to deploy inside-out organizing, which has been quite effective for them. Staying connected to the progressive movement in the public eye through attention-grabbing demonstrations and social media is part of gaining policy leverage. When you shoot for big stuff, you stay true to the movement, you fight unapologetically on the inside. That is a very, very powerful way to pass the radical solutions that are necessary to face the radical problems you have. These guys are in it for the long haul. And this was another quote from him, and I think this pretty much says it all. Or she, I don't know if it's her or him. We're in a do or die moment, and I think he embodies the integrity of fighting for a better world. He's a progressive force. And I think any of us here talking today...
Anytime you hear this progressive, this is their buzzword, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But let's go back to the former statement there. When you're in a do or die moment, and I think he embodies the integrity of fighting for a better world, who of us sitting here listening to this today can't identify with that? Now, what that looks like to me isn't what it looks like to them, but I do think we're in a do or die moment. I think that was the tone of the speech from the State of the Union. I think he said that. So we have a lot of intense, progressive, non-progressive. We have just a lot of intensity going on all over the place. And it's going to be the people that have the foresight and the sort of the wherewithal to keep this going that we're probably going to make the day. Now, I kind of wanted to go over a little bit of the Green Manifesto.
Yeah, I've got that up here, I've got this here. And some of the things I've heard about this, I must admit, some of them actually, I like some of the things I hear. Yeah. If I could cherry pick some of the ideas from this, absolutely, because there's some things in here that just make me shake my head.
I know. Yeah. So let's kind of, we'll kind of go over, okay.
Hang on. Kev, can you drop the join channel link for people on the phone? Yeah, I'll get that done. Sorry, Nano. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
On you go.
Okay,
Green agenda.
Yeah, and I think the reason I'm going to go over it today, guys, is because we haven't heard the last of this either. The way that I interpreted that they're going to continue to have this out there is they are not going to put it up for the vote in Congress. So they flew this by Nancy Pelosi and she blew it off. I don't know if you heard that this week.
No, I didn't hear that one, no.
She kind of poo-poo. She kind of just kind of like, well, we're going to table that for now. But this is not up for congressional vote. Smart. They're not putting this out there to get a vote. This is their manifesto. This is what they're going to go back to over and over again in the next couple of years, because the plan is in 2020, they want more of their soldiers on the ground or in Congress. That's the plan. That's where this is at. Okay. So the resolution, and it's let's see. Recognizing, and it's called resolution, recognizing the duty of the federal government to create a Green New Deal. She's likening this to FDR's New Deal, right? Special report on global warming, intergovernmental climate, or panel on climate change, blah, blah, blah.
See, this is the bit where this is the bit I would definitely take the big redacted marker to when she starts talking about global warming and things like that.
Yep.
Yep.
She's wildfires that by 2050 will annually burn at least twice as much forest area in the western United States than was typically burned by wildfires in the years preceding 2019. How does she know that? Loss of more than 99% of all coral reefs on the earth. So she's kind of going over the damage, right? More people to be exposed globally to deadly heat stress. Risk of damage of public infrastructure is like the billions of dollars. This is one of my favorite comments here. Whereas because the United States has historically been responsible for a disproportionate amount of greenhouse gas emissions, having emitted 20% of global greenhouse emissions through 2014, and has a high technological capacity the United States must take a leading role in reducing emissions through economic transformation. And that's where you kind of connect with this speech she gave, right? You know, we have so much time. She was talking to somebody in some audience. We don't have very much time, and this is really a serious issue. Life expectancy declining while basic needs such as clean air, clean water, healthy food, and adequate health care, housing, transportation, education are inaccessible to a significant portion of the United States of America. Hourly wages overall stagnating, third worst level of socioeconomic mobility in the developed world before the Great Recession, erosion of earnings, inadequate resources. Whereas the federal government, I'm kind of going through it fast, guys. I'm not going to go read it or go through all of it. Whereas the federal government led mobilization during World War II and the New Deal created the greatest middle class the United States has ever seen, but many members of frontline and vulnerable communities were excluded from many of the economic and societal benefits. So then we get into the goodies. Create millions of good high-wage jobs and ensure prosperity, invest in the infrastructure and industry of the United States to sustainability, secure for all people of the United States clean air, climate, and community, healthy food, access to nature, sustainable environment. Oh, God, you're just cringing. Meeting 100% of the power demand in the United States. Okay, 100% of the power demand in the U.S. through clean, renewable energy and zero-emission energy.
What page are you on, Nano?
I'm kind of skipping through. I think I'm on page 7.
Awesome. No, it's just because I was trying to sort that link for the chat. I'll just catch up so people can see. Yeah. There we go. Okay. I'm on it now.
Okay, I have to go back to page 7. Hold on.
You see? Knocking you all wrong, see?
It's okay. Where am I? Okay. That scared me. Upgrading all existing. Here's the one about the buildings. Upgrading all existing buildings in the United States and building new buildings to achieve maximal energy efficient, water efficient, safety, affordability, comfort, and durability, including electrification, renewable energy manufacturing. Work collaboratively with farmers and ranchers in the United States to eliminate pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. Aren't the farms owned by the corporations? It seems like a lot of them are. Overhauling transportation. Oh, God. High-speed rail. Removing greenhouse, blah, 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 blah. So, let's see. There's also money for people to have jobs, or if they don't have a job, so they can get paid. You continue to make sure people have their Medicare and their health care. She said that she is liking this to the UK system. Well, that's working so well for the UK, right?
It has its critics, I must admit. But at the same time, when I hear the stories from people over in the US, because of the kind of healthcare and insurance, I mean, it's quite alien to me. I've said that before. I'm used to just going to a doctor, going to a hospital, and you don't worry about anything like that. Again, probably, sometimes you hear of some hospitals, because you have to take it on a hospital-by-hospital basis, Nano. They're all different. It's all run by humans. But, yeah, there are some horror stories. However, you're never left without treatment. So, I mean, I've always said I think healthcare should be a human right. Again, it's a bit naive because I know it needs to be paid for at the same time. But like I say, it's just so hard for people in the UK sometimes to imagine having to pay for healthcare. It's just weird. Of course, we can opt into private healthcare. But the fact that it's just weird. It really is. Yeah, well, over here, if you're lucky enough, you can afford to pay for it. If you're not, you don't have any. Or if you get on Medicare or, whatever. And even that you have to pay for. That's not free. There's nothing free here. Everything has to be paid for. And I still think that Obamacare was an abomination the way it was set up. The fact that we had to pay fines if we couldn't afford health care and we didn't sign up for it, we had to pay fines. And the fines were up to $800 a month, a year. And that's just insane. It is insane. It's ridiculous. So
do I agree with her on any of this? I have to tell you, I don't. It was good to do the research today, kind of take a look at it. So basically, if you look at it's 14 pages. I think we're going to hear from her again. One of the guys backed her up in on the Hill article. I think she's going to be around for a while. I think this is going to be her, like the people from the Olympics. She's going to carry the torch for all this whole thing. And this is not the last we've heard of this. And I don't think anybody should not take her serious. And I think that's what was bothering me about her before I did the research, is it's very easy, and I've heard too many people say it, she's funny, you can make fun of her, and I'm thinking, I don't think you should treat her this way. I think she should be treated with the seriousness that she possesses as a human, because she's deadly serious and she's effective. And I think that's what was bothering me.
And she's backed. The hidden hand, the
huge.
cabal, the deep state, whatever name you want to put on that thing, where the power sits, they like her.
They love her.
Yeah.
She's been weaponized, and as John B. Wells said, he thinks she's a psyop. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I know.
Says John B. Wells, the guy that appears on the Patriot soapbox. He's calling somebody a psyop. Well, eh? Pots and kettles, John B. Wells. Honestly.
Know, but it was pretty funny.
Wow.
Would I go that far? The angry part of me would go, yeah.
But you see, that'll appeal to people from that QAnon crowd, though. That's a psyop. Everything's a psyop. It's from the left side, must be a psyop. That's the language they speak. That really shocks me. He's weighed in on that one, but it shouldn't shock me, I suppose.
I don't think that she's a psyop. I do think she's weaponized in the sense that I think the press, and they're not doing her any favors either, really. The way that they promote her, it's all skewed. They kind of take her stuff and make it sound cartoonish in a way. So she has to defend it. Look, I'm not trying to help her succeed, because I don't want a socialist nation. I don't. I really don't. I don't believe in global warming. I do believe that we are going through some huge changes. I don't think we've been told the truth. I think that the powers that be know darn well where we are. What an awesome time to change the planet and change the politics during a time of this kind of, electromagnetic whatever we're going through.
See, that's bang on. And what have we always said about the globalists as well? Mm-hmm. Order out of chaos.
Yes.
And we can see the chaos building all the time. Brexit over here, Trump in your country, all around the world, really. Countries that America are getting involved in, like Venezuela as well. The chaos is rising. And when I see that kind of thing, in the back of my mind, I always think to myself, well, there's something afoot here. Something's coming. And I don't mean something big and bad, but a move towards this global government that we always talk about is definitely on the horizon, in my opinion, anyway.
They're not hiding it.
No.
We see New World Order, New Order, all those words are out there now. And she's perfect for them. She's a perfect person to do the work for them. She has there are going to be people that love her. And if she's got the backing of the UN, well, who the heck is that? Let's see now. Oh, yeah, the New World Order. It's perfect.
Our favorites.
So I'm taking her very serious. I don't like her. A part of it is the thing that I don't like about her, besides the socialist agenda, is her attitude.
Now, who's this other one that's just announced they're running? Is it Goddard, Gifford? Tulsi, I can't remember her name.
Elsie Gabbard.
Yeah, Gabbard, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything about her. We have a huge group of people that are running for office right now. I think Pocahontas might be bowing out quicker than we think. don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, did you know that the Clinton? Okay, do you want to hear what a conspiracy thing that I have based on absolutely no facts?
Can we talk about these conspiracy things on YouTube anymore? Of course we can. Of course we can. Go for it, Nano.
Just don't put it in the title.
Yeah, that's it. Spell it out, sign language, smoke signals or something. You know?
Okay. Here's a question for you. Something to make you go, The people that used to work for Hillary and during her campaign are working for Kamala Harris now. And I don't know if you've seen her commercials. I know we talked about it a little bit last time. We should do something on her next time, but they want her, right? And I thought the whole thing with the Schultz guy from Starbucks.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Now that was funny because I could not believe that the left people got mad at him for running. It's like, are you kidding me? He's one of you. How could you get mad at one of you?
Exactly.
It was like he was eminently qualified. He doesn't care. He thinks he knows everything. He thinks he knows better than everybody else on the planet because he's rich.
Sounds like Trump.
Yeah. Well, anyway. So Pocahontas's information is starting to get out there that she's really not, Indian from the Indian nation, American Indian nation, and she's not an American Indian, and that she never has been, but she's been using it her whole career.
Oh, come on. She's won 1024th. Is she not?
Well, I think that's going to come and haunt her. And
I think so. I think I'm probably more Native American than she is.
I think you are.
Probably wouldn't surprise me.
So I'm kind of wondering who put that information out there. Who might be going after her? Who went after Schultz? Anyway, throwing that out there. Schultz. So my favorite comment from him. He's like very shocked at the reactions of the people on the planet to his announcing that he might run for president. I guess he didn't know we hated him.
Well, he's found out now, hasn't he? So who do you think then? Come on then, Nana, I have to get your take. I mean, who do you think is going to be the next actor in the White House? Or is it going to be the same actor as we've got just now?
It's too early to tell.
Yeah.
You have a lot of people coming out, and if I were them, I would come out as late as I could.
Yeah.
And a rumor has it that our favorite woman in the entire planet, Hillary, might be running.
Do you see?
It's a double.
I honestly think the devil. A double. Yeah, Lucifer himself could run against Hillary Clinton and win.
I know.
Yep. She is unelectable. She's toxic. That whole family's toxic now. Even her daughter, if she had any aspirations of going into office, it's done. Absolutely done. And they'll hate WikiLeaks and the emails that really told everyone what the Clintons are like. And I'm not sitting holding my breath that they'll ever be taken to court, let alone go to Gitmo like we hear in some corners of the internet. But I think people now are wise enough to the fact that these are a bunch of criminals.
Yeah. I think that they want Kamala Harris. I think she's definitely going to be there for the long haul. I don't know who else is going to be there for the long haul. There's too many different people out there doing their thing, so I don't know. And I think there's going to be a lot of other things coming up. Again, I think things are so crazy right now politically that we can't predict.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing trends today. We're not doing predictions. Because the first couple of years that I would do The Economist, then the next show I would try to do predictions. I'm not even bothering.
No.
Trends. We're doing trends.
Yeah, usually when it comes to predictions, I used to try and get the predictions. We used to both go there. But over time, I've been like, oh, no, predictions just leave egg on your face. Because the world's that erratic. It's hard for anyone, even with an inside scoop, to predict what's happening, Nano.
I don't think you can anymore.
No.
I think it's just, and especially with social media and Twitter and what happens to people so quickly on Twitter or social media if they do something wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, they go down in flames. It's, oh God, it's crazy. So, yeah. So we did want to talk a little bit about Dark Journalist yesterday and Corey Goode and all that kind of good stuff.
Yes, I think we should.
I don't know if Uni is he still in our...
I'm not sure if he's still in the chat, but, you know, obviously over the last week or so, shall we say.
Yeah.
I've always been outspoken against Jordan Sather. It's been personal ad hominem attacks. I just can't suffer the guy. He's always rubbed me up the wrong way. And usually that's my gut telling me there's something wrong there. And I've always been critical of him. Always been critical of Corey Goode as well. Not so much Wilcock, because back in the early days, I really learned a lot from listening to David Wilcock. Not so much recently, though. I mean, I like to go for the woo. I like to bring on, you know, people that claim to be in the secret space program. But I think it's very telling that not once did I ever kind of approach the main star of the current secret space program, Mr. Corey Goode. And you know, Nanogirl, I have had on some questionable people in the past, right? But not even I would go anywhere near Corey Goode. And now there's more to back up what people like me have been thinking. And it's thanks to, you know, uni people like, is it C.W. Chanter as well, Dark Journalist, and all the ones that were basically sharing the messages and the information from behind the scenes, because this is where it starts to get really, really sinister, Nano. Because it's one thing putting disinformation out or maybe spinning a yarn to try and get clicks, okay? But when you're like running a kind of secretive group that's going out and harassing anyone that's critical of your fake message, that's another level of stuff altogether.
Yes, and so I wanted to give a big shout out to Uni. And Uni, yesterday I was listening to Dark Journalist, and he gave you a big shout out as well, because he spent some time talking about Corey Goode and the blue chickens. The blue avians? It's the blue avians.
You know, we love the blue chickens here.
We do. And just he and Walter Bosley were talking about some of the shenanigans that Corey Goode and the game have been playing, and they went after you said Joe from the Carolinas, right? And that was that's illegal to do something like that, and they could be in very big trouble. But so Uni, I just wanted to let you know he gave a big shout out to you for kind of exposing some of this stuff, and kind of educating people on this.
Joe from the Carolinas, I don't know the guy personally. I found him through Unirock. I find him to be one of the most polite, well-spoken, articulate people on YouTube. I love his videos. Absolutely love it. I love the way he approaches the whole secret space stuff. And for anyone to go after him, that's just sick. And especially with the line of work that he does, working with terminal cancer patients, stuff like that, harassing him at his work. You know, I've heard there's FBI investigations going on. I'm not sure. I've not been privy to that. I hope there is, because that's taking things to a whole new level altogether. And this is why I say YouTube in particular, it's changed dramatically. The landscape of YouTube since PG, that pizza shop in Washington, forward, it's been totally different for me, and there's been more and more of this kind of thing going on, and it gets harder and harder for people like us, people like Uni, all the other genuine YouTubers out there. I see a lot of them in the chat as well, Dodger, Glow, people like that. It makes it harder for us to even get our content seen, let alone getting views on it. Absolutely.
I've noticed a big change since Google doesn't do recommendations anymore. A huge change of that. Mm-hmm. You know, they started on Thursday. Was it Wednesday or Thursday of last week?
No more QAnon in my feed.
I know. It's just like it's frustrating. It's like, I just want to watch my stuff. Leave me alone. Just want to watch my stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, they spent quite a bit of time talking about that, and I didn't realize this, but Corey Goode is going after Jimmy Church. Did you know that? Did you guys mention that in your show? You probably did.
See, I had no idea. I'm kind of on the fence with that one. I wonder if that's a bit of theatre drama going on. Because I've noticed, you know, I'll say it, I've noticed it's almost like Jimmy maybe brings on the new SSP whistleblowers.
Yeah.
And when they get a good response, because Jimmy works on Coast to Coast, you'll see them then going to Coast. They might get on with George Noory himself, and then before you know it, they end up on Gaia TV. I can't prove any of this, but I think Jimmy Church is connected to the whole thing with Corey Goode, Sather, and Sather gives you that connection to the QAnon thing as well. I don't know. I'm on the fence about Jimmy Church, shall we say, and any spat that him and Corey Goode are having, I think it might just be good to observe it.
I agree with you. I know that was big in getting him out there and getting him on shows and giving him press and visibility. So I was surprised to hear that they might have turned on him. That was shocking, because I don't really listen to Jimmy Church anymore, because I don't like the fact that they don't let people speak. They don't, they really are careful who they let on the show and what information gets past them.
You go 4 weeks ago, Mr. Wilcock himself,
Yep.
Won't take us too long to scroll down here and find one of the other ones I wouldn't imagine. I don't know, I don't know, Nanogirl. I used to be naive and think we were all in this for the right reason, but I'm the opposite now. I question everyone's motives these days. I really do. And especially the more and more you dig below the surface, you see these connections between all of them. Lots of YouTubers with lawyers as well. What the heck is that all about? YouTubers with lawyers? YouTubers lending each other thousands of pounds of cash? There's something really, really weird. There's something really toxic to it. I don't know how YouTube fix it. I would never call for any other channel to be banned, even though I don't agree with them. However, when you can see some of the fraudulent stuff going on, surely there's a case to be made that somebody has to do something, right?
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, I kind of stay away from all of those guys, because to me, they've tried to hijack the entire UFO movement, and they tried to copyright it. They tried to own it. They tried to, and all that information should be told to us. For those of us who were very interested in that for many, many years, which I was, it really bothers me that they think that they own it, or that, they've got some secret thing that they did, or didn't Goode say that he was a part of, going to other planets and all that crap?
Yeah.
Whatever. Right. It's like, whatever.
I had somebody on my show at one point that fell into all this kind of Q secret space stuff and ended up talking about how he was going to join a secret alliance, and I've no idea. Well, I don't know. These people live in a different reality. They really, really do. But they're conning and duping so many people. And like you say, at this time, everyone's kind of waking up. Everyone's got a thirst, especially when it comes for like secret space stuff. And I'm not talking about alien life or anything like that. Just our own technology that we have ourselves, Nanogirl. That in itself is interesting enough, without throwing in like going to the moon for 20 years and coming back 5 minutes later and nobody's noticed a thing and stuff like that. I don't know. And lots of blue chickens flying about in the chat room here tonight. I like to see that.
It is, and it's good to see all you good folks on a Saturday. I hope you guys are enjoying the show and that we're not getting too boring. I know we got too very political, but we're going to switch it up and hopefully laugh a little bit on some of this. As I said to Kev, I love doing trends, and I try to do it once a year because it's kind of is interesting to me, because I find that at least it helps me connect the events I'm seeing. Otherwise, I feel like things happen all over the place, and none of it makes sense because we don't seem to have any continuity. So I have a hard time with that myself. So this kind of gives me a little bit of a heads up of where I think we're headed. What are some things we're going to be seeing? I didn't focus so much on tech this year. I think all of us are pretty up to speed on the tech. But I found this great list. It's called 50 Trends to Watch in 2019. And of course, we have our little buddy, Faith Popcorn, although some of her stuff's going to be covered in this. So we could just go over a couple of them maybe and just kind of have some fun with them. Are you game, Kev?
Oh, I'm absolutely game. You know I'm always game. I'm game for anything, me.
I know, you're such a good sport. Whatever I bring to the party, you're like, yeah, sure, we could do that.
Well, I need to make that clear to people out there, though, because, Nanogirl's been prepping for this show all day, probably all week as well. And I've really got the easy job. I really do, because I'm the host. I come here, I set up the stream. It barely works. It's working good. And big shout out to Kristen, newest member of the channel. You get exclusive rights to the smoking Elon, the Wookiee, the Yoda, and another Wookiee as an emoji. So if you want to join the channel, please do that. But yeah, like I was saying, this is all Nanogirl's work. It really, really is. I've got the pleasure of just joining Nano and being able to comment on the hard work she's put in. So please, anyone out there, don't be thanking me for any of this. This is all Nano's work. And Nano, I like when you get into the trends, because I always think back to a time when you were the very, very first person to hit me with the phrase, the Internet of Things. And I'll never forget that, because this was only maybe a couple of years ago. And at the time, I'm sitting thinking, the Internet of Things? What does that even mean? We got into sensors, we got into all that led into the 5G, the smart city. And you talk to anyone today with half a brain cell about them, you mention Internet of Things, and they know right away what you're talking about. But you were kind of bringing that to the audience way before anyone knew anything. So that's why when Nano talks trends, it might be worth grabbing a pen and a bit of paper. So where are we starting with the trends?
Oh, that's so sweet. Hey, you do all the technical stuff. Look at how cool this site looks. I'm loving it.
It's
look
easy.
At this.
It's easy. And I even took like nice gender neutral colours, not to offend anyone. We've got some blue, we've got some pink in there, Nano. So nobody can be triggered by the colour scheme. I can't be called some kind of toxic male because I had all blue or anything like that.
I know.
Everyone
and
nice
you got
and
you
calm.
got this little thing down there. Support the show. Like, look at this. KPS. Yeah, I love it.
Inspired by the Unirock, obviously. I hope it doesn't look too much like Unirocks, because I don't want to be. I suppose imitation is flattery, right?
Well, I think if Busy starts to visit you, then you're in trouble.
No, I don't have Busy. I have Wookiee. I have the Chewie. In fact, I was looking for my Chewie and he's disappeared. Even my Chewbacca's disappeared on me.
Oh no, your little Chewie doll.
I'm hoping Chewie's making me a coffee right about now. Yes, go for it, Nano. And if you've got any websites for me to bring up, drop them in the Skype and I'll let the listeners see them.
Okay. No, I think we're just going to kind of have a little discussion. We'll kind of highlight some of the good stuff here and things that I thought were kind of interesting. So the first one is move over millennials. It's Gen Z time.
Gen Z, like as in Generation Zombie?
Generation Z. I thought it was interesting because I didn't realize it was. This is the first time 5 generations will be working side by side. Isn't that interesting?
That is very.
Generations. And so they were asked. Some of the leaders were asked. Some of the managers were asked. What is it about them that you like? My experience is they lean in and lean hard. They are very different people, but as a group, I experience them as curious, hopeful, always learning, painfully attuned to the suffering in the world, and anxious to do something about it. Which is kind of interesting because I think the millennials kind of have a bad rap of not caring, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to keep track who's who.
Yeah.
The second one is the economy slow down. I find this one, again, is a prediction because it's so manipulated. It's hard to tell. We've been hearing about this for 2 years, at least. And every time Catherine Austin Fitts is asked, she has a different answer. She's one of the people I kind of trust. I think I have a lot of respect for her. So we'll see. You know what? I do think there's been a lot of predictions about 2020, though, being a tougher year, and that 2019 is a year where everybody should prep and everybody should kind of fulfill their wishes, like do your wish list and make them happen.
It's funny you should say that, because you're not the first person to mention, prepping. And I know prepping's always spoken about, especially in alternative media and the kind of circles we move in YouTube. But I don't know, it seems to be coming across my kind of table more and more these days. And that's not me saying, well, it's definitely time to prepare, but I'm seeing more people talking about it, Nano. And I always say it's good to be prepared for anything anyway, right?
Right. From an astrological point of view, I've heard 2020 is going to be a year of huge change. And I've kind of wondered if that's where the rubber hits the road. As we kind of go through these trends, I think you'll see some things start to come together. But with all this anger, so if we step back and just look at it astrologically speaking, and from a human perspective, at some point, everybody's angst, everybody's anger, something has to dissipate. You have to kind of move through it. It also depends if we're still going through the earth changes. Are we still under the influence of these frequency and vibrations and all this other kind of stuff? Cliff has mentioned that this might be a 2-year cycle, although I have no idea how long this will last. So that's another thing. I don't know. But I'm going to keep my eye on that. If I hear any more good stuff, we kind of keep it floating around the show. The next one was in part 2 of 2 is, and the companies will prepare with preemptive layoffs. So far, they predicted General Motors has announced 14,000 strategic layoffs in November, and I know that Tesla laid off a bunch of people, 7% of their people. But again, the economy's doing pretty good, so I don't know if I'm seeing a lot of this. Number 4, we are finally going to spend more time online than watching TV. Can I have an amen? I know I don't even have a TV.
Well, I don't know. We like our sci-fi shows, right? And
yes.
I'm going to bring something up on the screen here. And this is this is the way I think basically YouTube are going to be going. But I was watching a show called YouTube, or it was a YouTube original, and it's called YouTube Origin.
I saw it.
Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And this was like a series made by YouTube. Yes. It's almost like they're going down the Netflix road now, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, very good. Very well made. Great story. Great effects.
Yes. Yes, they did a very good job on it. It kept your attention. I liked it. It was really good. I agree with you. I think we're going to see different shows coming from different places. I would just as soon pay $2. Through Amazon Prime, you can sometimes pay for shows.
Yeah, that's right.
And I would just as soon pay for 5 shows and then not have to go be part of CBS. Although I can sign up for CBS and watch their shows for a month and then cancel, you know, and maybe that's how people are watching things. I've let my Netflix subscription lapse. You guys, I don't know about you. I cannot take any more darkness like that.
Oh, I must admit, our Netflix has lapsed here as well. So if you want to donate to the show, please hit one of the buttons below. I'm only joking. But no, I love my Netflix. But you're right, Nanogirl. There's a kind of the majority of stuff on there. There's a lot of end of the world stuff, a lot of dark stuff. Very rare you find anything too cheery on there. So I have to agree with you there. But you know me, I'm like you. I'm a binge watcher, and I really do prefer probably the online, the Netflix, the Amazon Prime, TV. Yeah. The only thing I really sit down to TV for is maybe to watch a soccer game. That's about it.
Yeah, there's nothing on TV here. I mean, even if you have it, there's nothing to watch, and I don't think Showtime or HBO has anything over Prime or Netflix per se. And I think the Obamas, didn't they just do they own it, or did they invest in Netflix?
Don't tell me that. You'll ruin it for me. I don't know. No, I honestly don't know.
They either invested it or they've been given money to do shows for Netflix. And AOC, our little sweetheart buddy, has been given millions of dollars to do her show, to do her biography or something. So I think she's going to be paid to do something too.
Doesn't surprise me.
Exciting stuff. So Netflix is kind of going down the way of politics in a way.
Yeah.
And I'm not interested in that. I don't want to even support that.
Do you think, like me, we're going to see YouTube, and this is no criticism of them, it's just an observation, but I think they're becoming more geared to the networks that are going to be coming off the TV channels, since the TV's going away. We see them pushing when it comes to news, your CNNs, all the main Fox News, stuff like that. And then you've got the kind of premier side of YouTube as well, where they're almost doing their Netflix thing. I mean, I think that really they're moving into almost an amalgamation, like a hybrid Netflix network TV channel.
Yes, and I think there's a Christian YouTube channel too, right? I think I've seen that promoted as well, where they have shows for Christians, like you would have the Hallmark Channel. You
Yeah.
know, the Hallmark Channel is one of the most watched channels. It's one of the most popular because they have happy stories. They have happy Christmas stories, happy holiday stories, happy stories. People will fall in love, they
Everyone's
get married.
happy. Happy, 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 Nano.
Well, come on, we all need to check out. You would be shocked if you took a poll on how many people watch the Hallmark Channel.
No, you're right. It's the same over here. Absolutely the same over here. We've got it here too. So I totally get where you're coming from. Absolutely.
Sometimes you just want to watch something so innocuous and predictable and happy.
No, I watched the other day, since we're talking about this and we're being totally random, Kojak. I watched an old episode of Kojak and it was absolutely brilliant. I forgot how good Kojak was.
Kojak was very good.
Kojak was awesome.
I'm finishing up on season 10 of Stargate SG-1.
Oh.
I don't want it to end. And I've already watched Atlantis, so now I'm going to have to find something else. But, you know, it was back in a time when things were, they told jokes. They told jokes on themselves. They made jokes about Star Trek and Scotty and Captain Kirk. And, you know, it was just, they didn't take themselves seriously. But there was some kind of cool tech, too.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. Yeah. And Stargate, for anyone out there, all you need to do is go to YouTube, because there's Stargate channels that daily they put on like rebroadcasts of shows and things. So there's always a Stargate to be catching somewhere. Love that show.
I do too. I love all the characters.
Let me ask you then, Nano. I'm looking at a Stargate on screen right now, the one from the TV show. Do you think, and we're speculating, but do you think there was ever anything like that here? Egypt, ancient times, something like that?
Yeah, I do.
I do. Yep.
I do. I think that there very possibly could be everything.
Yep.
You know, I wonder,
space travel with our laws of physics, speed of light kind of stuff.
Right.
It's not practical. It's just not even practical to travel our own galaxy, let alone go intergalactic. So it sounds out there, but with quantum entanglement and a higher level of physics that maybe we haven't attained yet, we've not really started tapping into. Why not? You've got an ancient civilization goes around planets that are friendly, that are just the right temperature, just the right atmosphere for life forms like us, and you start putting these gates down. I think, you know, I don't know why it's my gut. Maybe it's the sci-fi geek in me, but I do think there's something to that. I really do.
I do too. I think that's why I've liked both of them so much. And because their bodies could take it.
Yep.
You know, they didn't have to go through the Van Allen belt or whatever all that stuff was.
Exactly.
And some of my favorite characters are the Asgards, which are the little gray people. For those of you who haven't watched the show.
How funny, we've done a show on Asgardia not long ago.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
Yes, that was pretty amusing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number 5. Brexit will continue to consume the European political scene.
Brexit.
How about that Brexit over there, Kev?
Oh, yeah, it's going absolutely fantastic. I'm just all Brexited out, really am. People keep saying that this person here, Theresa May, is doing an awful job. Kind of depends where you're looking at it from. From the will of the British people who want to leave the EU, absolutely horrendous job. But she doesn't work for us. Keep telling people that. They don't work for us. And when you look at it from her boss's point of view, i.e. Buckingham Palace, and the ones over in the EU, it's, bravo, you've made a right mess of what the British people wanted. So I honestly think behind closed doors in the smoky rooms where she shapeshifts into whatever kind of creature she is, she's probably absolutely loved by the globalists because she's doing everything she can to make a mess out of Brexit.
She's done an outstanding job. I mean, that's pretty much what this says.
Yep. That and the fact that every time we drop a bomb on any country that's done nothing to us, her husband makes a shed load of money because he just happens to be on the board of the arms companies that makes the weapons that we drop. Eh? What a coincidence, Nano.
You know, I could say a lot of things about her. I was really disappointed when I listened to questions to the Prime Minister a couple of weeks ago. And again, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter whether you're in the UK or America, where a number of the people talking to the Prime Minister said, we want to be a part of this deal. We want you to include us. We have things to say. And she said, no, you don't need to be telling me. I already know what you want. Just sit down and shut up, effectively. Mm-hmm. And I thought, is there going to be a day where we just don't take this anymore? And look at the is the orange vest, the green vest,
yellow vest, yeah, the yellow vest.
Sorry, yeah, they're back out there again today.
Yeah, this character here, creepy little Macron. Try to get his picture up.
Oh God, he is creepy.
He's not coming up, but yeah, he is creepy, and his coat is on a very shaky hook, as we say here in the UK. I don't know how much longer. I like that. Yeah, I don't know how much longer he can stay in power with the way that the yellow vests are really maintaining the pressure on them, and quite right to them as well. And it's not like the mainstream media dress it up. It's not just over a fuel tax. This is basically them saying hell no to globalization, to the carbon form of government that we heard coming out of the kind of Paris Accord, all that kind of climate change nonsense, like that green bill that we were reading through earlier on as well. The French people ain't taking it. And they're not showing you the real protests, I don't think, Nano. And we spoke about this before, Melissa and Aaron Dykes. They highlighted the burning car that you see at all these protests. And if they weren't busy filming the burning car, what the media would be having to show you is women, men, children, old people, everyone coming together, because everyone has had enough of it over there. So I hope they get their will. I really do hope they get their way. But with France being so integral in the EU, it's going to be hard.
Lou Rudowski has gone over. He's there today, and this is like his third or fourth trip going over there. And he was interviewing Bob, and so I kind of watch it every Saturday. Every Saturday I tune in for the Vest update. And Bob is his anonymous person that he interviews because he doesn't want to be on known. He doesn't want his real name used, and he doesn't want to be on camera. But he said last night, they were interviewing last night in preparing for the protest today, that it's like, I think it was like 12 or 15 people have lost their eyes in this protest. Their eyes.
Well, I'm going to pull up a story here. It might sound totally unbelievable, but yellow vests. Chemical weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, France prepares a chemical weapon. And this is not like a conspiracy site or QAnon or anything like that. Daily Mail. France prepares last resort chemical weapon that can be smothered around Paris to keep yellow vest rioters away from key buildings as anti-Macron protests continue. So they're talking about a chemical that can be spread across the size of 6 football pitch in 10 seconds. Now, just close your eyes out there if you're listening to that. A city being doused in a chemical weapon. Now, usually when you hear something like that, you would automatically expect the kind of coalition of the killing to be running to the kind of mics and the TVs, cameras, and saying, right, that's it, we need to go and bomb this country. They're gassing their own people. They're literally carrying out chemical warfare on their own people. That is if it was Syria or one of the other countries that aren't playing ball with us. But when it's France, that's okay. That's perfectly fine, you know? The double standards is outrageous, Nanogirl. Absolutely outrageous.
Yeah, and the other thing they're doing is they want to outlaw people wearing masks because they want to see their faces. Well, they can't survive protesting with the level of this poison gas.
Exactly. No, exactly. You're so right. I mean, I think that's maybe tear gas there. I'm not sure what kind of gas they were threatening to use, but it's hellish. It truly is. And when Luke Rudowski was over there one of the times, I mean, I think the last time he was over, they had that explosion in the bakery shop. Now, obviously, an explosion in France, you're automatically going to think that's something bad. Just with the climate that we live in nowadays, especially France, they're no stranger to attacks. So fair play to them, you know, going out there and doing that, and fair play to everyone else out on the streets, because They're really putting their money where their mouth is. They're not just talking about change. They're trying to get it, Nano.
And they're losing their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought about that. I mean, that's pretty intense. I think about them all the time. I hope that they win, because they need to get that guy out of there.
Yeah, somebody shared stuff with me on Facebook. It was an open post. It wasn't anything, but it was one of those ones you had to click because might be graphic content inside. And I'm thinking, yeah, whatever. But you're right. And it was a lot of the kind of photographs of people that had been injured in these kind of protests. And some of the injuries, I mean, you compare it to the fake scenes that we've seen coming out of, Syria, where there's just children lying around, but we've come to find weeks later there was nothing happening, not even the kids themselves knew what was going on there. But these are people literally bleeding out, like you say, facial injuries to the arms, to the legs. It's disgusting what's happening.
It is, and I'm so impressed that, people, I guess one of my pet peeves is people on YouTube screaming at their listeners to go do something. And I think in this day and age, that's not very fair. That's not a fair thing to do to your listeners. I think all of us are being called within our own hearts to do what we need to do. So I don't think that you need to be, especially if you have pretty smart listeners. So for these guys to go out there and know what they're up against, and I've seen them, they get sprayed with water and they knock them down. The cops will surround them and beat them. I mean, it's just amazing to me, but the thing that is so impressive is they're coming back weekend after weekend. And there was a shot from RT today, because I watch it on RT, where you could see them all the way through the Arc de Triomphe. Mm-hmm. In Paris. It's like,
but this guy here in the photograph, he needs to sort his whole attire for going protesting. This whole jeans hanging off your bum look, not good for running away from the police. Absolutely, that's an accident waiting to happen. Somebody needs to get a grip of this guy. Tell him, if you're going to protest, do it right, Nanogirl. Don't be doing it with the soy boy trousers hanging off your bottom.
Anyway. All right, so we're moving on. So the next social movement. Now, another thing that I found interesting about these trends is that they correlated so well with our good friends and pals at The Economist magazine. And the other thing that I found very interesting when we think about the socialist movement is how The Economist magazine spent so much of their articles on defending democracy, when darn well they're paying for all the socialist movement. But anyway,
you should see that, because right on the front page of The Economist, we have the foundations of Venezuela's regime are cracking, but not yet collapsing. Although I'm sure with a little push from you, The Economist, along with the CIA and their regime change outfit, things will all go according to plan, right?
Yep, I'm afraid so. But anyway, so the next couple things, and I know this was in The Economist, the next social movement will be Occupy Silicon Valley, and governments will seize an opportunity to regulate big tech. I doubt number 2, because these guys get paid by these corporations. Yeah. Even AOC got $6,000 from Apple Computer, by the way. She who hates big corporations, but okay, moving on.
That we know of.
Exactly. This was the known contributions. You could look it up on Google. Now here was one that was interesting, and I didn't think about this. Automation will disproportionately impact women's jobs. So we all know that the robot, which by the way, I thought the robot commercials for the Super Bowl last Sunday were creepy.com. I thought they were all creepy.
Yeah,
I hated all of them.
I think the adverts were even creepier than the halftime show. I was quite, from a conspiracy theorist point of view, I was quite disappointed by the halftime show.
I was too.
Yeah, there wasn't too much symbolism going on that we could sit and analyse. But the advertisements, yeah, absolutely, Nanogirl. And we had the robots, like you're saying. Yeah. We also had an ad for the upcoming series, The Twilight Zone. It's been remade into a new show. Looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to that too.
Yes.
But this automation situation, so basically because women tend to do the less technical jobs, let's say on the floor, why did they say it? The more routine tasks. I wanted to get this correct. They will be impacted more. So the big plan for 2019, they'll get this all completed, is to help women get skills to succeed with education and training. And I'm sure that will all come together this year. Yes, sir, Bob.
Yeah, it says here women's jobs could be the hardest hit by automation, and it says that the research estimates that 1.4 million roles that technology will make irrelevant by 2026, and near 60% will affect the fairer sex, especially those in office and administration positions. And I'd never thought about the kind of how it would affect the different kind of sexes, Nano. I'd never thought about that. I'd never really taken that into account until you brought it up here just now.
I hadn't either.
No.
It didn't occur to me, and I was thinking,
That's because we're not sexist, see? We're not defined by these kind of identity politics. We're not running about mad, trying to make everything about males and females and the way the world is going these days. We just, we just see people as people, right?
Yeah. Well, I do, but
Yep.
I mean, that might be an old-fashioned thought.
It is an old-fashioned thought. It's like the dinosaurs. It's going out of fashion.
Well, I was running around with them, so it's all good.
Same here. Don't worry about it. I remember bathing in the Tyrannosaurus Rex's footprint. Yeah. Those were the days, Nano. Simpler life, She took out and hit my woman over the head with a club, drag her back to my cave, and things were happy. And then along came Gillette, and that spoiled everything.
Jillett.
Exactly.
Gillette. Okay, now this one was interesting. Healthcare providers will cover your groceries. So evidently, some people might be scared to leave their homes. If you're sitting at home with no job, it's going to impact your health. I guess so. Whether that's the mental stress, whether that starts to create high blood pressure, even signs of hypertension. So one of the proposals, is it Geisinger, a healthcare system covering the poorest countries in Pennsylvania? Oh, counties. I'm sorry, counties. I'm like, what? Started a fresh food pharmacy providing patients with groceries, nutrition information, and cooking classes. So whether you feel like you can't leave your apartment because it's too dangerous outside, you're going to have fresh food pharmacy. I wouldn't touch that food if you paid me.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You can keep that with your vaccines. I'll just give both of those a miss. Thank you.
I thought it was interesting. I had not heard of that trend.
No.
Okay, number 12. Me Too will enter phase 2. I think we covered this a lot, and I know we covered it during The Economist. Have you been keeping up with the Virginia debacle? What's going on with the governor and the attorney general and all that stuff?
Yep.
Well, one of them, is it the vice governor or whatever? So one of them is accused of rape, and then the other two are accused of doing the blackface thing.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Man, it is weird. That is so... Man, it is just so weird. Anyway.
The whole kind of landscape's weird right now.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. And then number 13. But some disgraced executives will make a comeback with the sorry cycle. It's called the sorry cycle.
Are we going to have
IR sorry.
Are we going to have people like queuing up on TV to cry on camera and pledge they're so sorry. Please forgive me. Is that what we're going to get? Surely not. Surely not Kevin Spacey again, taking to YouTube to make a sorry video. That would just be bad. Harvey Weinstein making a sorry video. I think it might take more than that, Harvey.
Spacey didn't do sorry.
No, he didn't.
Let's be frank.
That's what I mean. Will he come back and do a sorry one? Oh, hell no. I wouldn't think so.
No. He's not going to do sorry. He better not.
And how's his case going? I mean, I really haven't been watching it kind of too thoroughly. I don't even know if it started yet.
I haven't paid attention. He just leaves me flabbergasted all the time, so I can't go there very often. Okay, number 14, the battle against extreme poverty will heat up. I bet you can't guess who's going to be very instrumental in this. Wait for it. Wait for it. The last names start with G.
Oh, it's Bill Gates. It's got to be Bill Gates.
Yes!
Absolutely.
Yes!
You know, he's always at the forefront of something like this. What's he saying now?
Well, evidently, this is a trend that's going to be influenced by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We can't always change the circumstances a child is born into. I know they're going to vaccinate the hell out of us, but we can invest in that child's potential to thrive in spite of them by investing in their health and education. Run for the hills. Especially important, she argues, is investing in the health and education of women and girls. Run, run, run.
Run for the hills.
Unbelievable. Okay, number 16. Now, another thing that I noticed here, there's 50 trends here. I'm not going to make you suffer through all of them, but there's a lot of things about work on these trends. And one of them is what will matter at work is your humanity. So they're starting to talk humanity, ethics, the people that, like when the Google employees were outraged at the fact that their bosses were doing sexual harassment, and they did a kind of a walkout on that, you know. And so what we're going to see with these Gen guys, the millennials and the Gen Xers, is they're not going to tolerate that from their CEOs. And their CEOs have to make a difference. They have to reach out to the people. And speaking of that, I have a friend that works at Facebook. And it's very interesting because my friend is a total sweetheart. And he thinks that Zuckerbot is doing an awesome job. And he's very different when he presents himself to the company versus, when we see him in the halls of Washington. So it's kind of interesting. And that's one of the trends we're starting to see, is that these CEOs are much more hands-on, much more ethics. And I know that where I'm working, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of attention paid to society, paying forward, making a difference in the schools, making a difference with your customers, making a difference within your own neighborhood and your own city and state, et cetera, et cetera. It's becoming much more society conscious, environmentally conscious. So there's a lot of that. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Uber and Lyft will lead the wave of IPOs. So Uber, Lyft, Palantir, Slack, and Airbnb will all take the plunge in 2019 and go public.
Palantir, now there's a company that people really need to look into deeply, very deeply. Mm-hmm. I'm saying no more. They're one of the companies that could definitely come after you if you said too much, Nano. You know what I mean? I'm only joking.
I do.
Yeah.
But they're going. Maybe we should invest in them. I mean, hey, kind of keep an eye on them. I don't know.
I'll invest some time researching them and telling people all about them, because they really are. And I mean, we've seen them over. Remember, they were over in Saudi Arabia when Trump was there, and his hands on the big glowing Palantir ball. Yes, indeed. And of course...
Oh, yes. I just keep remembering him and Prince Charles doing the dance with the swords with the Saudis.
Yeah.
Which is so creepy.
Too creepy for words, it really is. Don't get me started on the royal family, you know that. But no, Palantir, big time, they're a company to be looked at. They've got lots of AI things going on. And yeah, I remember looking into them when I was working with Tony. And wow. That was eye-opening. I'd heard of them, but I didn't realise they were quite what they were.
Agreed.
Yep.
Number 19 and 20 are companies will speed up diversifying their workforce or will be made to. And number 20, a me-first world will be harder to steer.
Diversify.
And globalism.
Oh.
Where's my favorite comment from the globalism? Our challenge is we're in a me-first world now. But we need to look for leaders that will need to make decisions from a broader perspective and consider interdependencies. And guess who said that? Stanley McChrystal. Yes, the ex-former commander of U.S. forces in Afghanistan. Yeah. That's a creepy thing. In many cases, what happened in the very ecosystem we both depend upon is gone blah, 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 blah. I thought, I don't really want to hear from you, McChrystal. I'm not impressed by that guy. I never liked him, you know?
Yeah.
But,
He's somebody, I know the name. I can't say I deeply know about
yeah,
him, though. So I'd hate to
yeah.
kind of
I
really
don't hate
pass.
to.
Yeah.
He's one of ours. I can, and I don't like that guy. So that,
But
to
see,
me,
that's good enough for me. Your judge of character is good enough for me, Nano Girl. Absolutely.
okay.
So I'm not
Okay,
happy
so
with him.
they're still going to do it, but he's fired. Okay, you're fired. You're fired.
You're out of
Crystal.
here. You're out of here. Now, Nano, I don't know if you've got anything else to cover there, but when we do finish up your notes and everything else, I think we'll go into the chat room before we go away tonight, because there's been so many great comments in there. There really has. So once we get through the notes, if we've got time, we'll definitely dive in there, right? If you've got time to, obviously.
Obviously. Do you want to dive in there now?
No, I want to get I want to get through all of your notes first, because that way we rarely have time on the Kev Baker show. We've got 2 hours on there, but it just flies by, and at least when we're on here we can chillax and I can put my feet up.
I can't believe it's already almost 2 hours.
It flies by. It truly does. Now I know how uni can go for like 5-6 hours at a time. It literally just flies by.
I know it does, and I think it's because there's no commercials. We don't have to stop in the middle of it. Yeah.
And I'll be back tomorrow night.
Let me go to. I have a couple more that I think might be interesting, and then let's do maybe 5 more minutes, and then of this, and then let's go talk to everybody in chat.
Yeah. So anyone, if you want to put your questions to Nano in the chat room, just type in at, I think it's S bar, Nano's name is, or you can put at Kev Baker Show. So I'll scroll back up the chat. Don't worry, folks. I'll go back up. So, Nano, let's get back into where we were, where we just left off. Yes.
Okay, here's one that I thought was really interesting, because I'm sitting in a place where we have open concept, and it says the office will empty out. The comment was made by this guy. He's the CEO of Redfin, by Glenn Kelman. Now, you guys, I have to tell you, I have not seen that. And we have the worst commute crap going on over here ever. And excuse my French. It's awful. We're talking LA traffic. And people are expected to show up and go to work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they could do Fridays. They're allowed to work at home on Fridays. And if you're sick, I've been sick a couple of days during this contract. I've worked at home, They call it work-life integration. But I'm not seeing this go away. So I whatever, but supposedly we'll see. I don't know.
What about Elon Musk's tunnels? Are they going to take off in LA?
Absolutely.
Or is he pouring money into a hole in the ground, literally?
I try not to say anything about your Musketeer guy, because I know you like him, and it's out of deference for you that I don't mention him.
No. Nano, see that's where I'm different. I would never get to the point of how would you put it, falling out with somebody because they have a different opinion over Musk. At the end of the day, he's just a character to me. I like some of the stuff. There's some stuff I don't like about him at all. So anything you've got to say about him is absolutely appreciated. Don't you worry about that.
Okay. All right, so let me just read the titles here just so we can get through this quickly, and that'll kind of give you an overview of where I kind of came up with some of the interesting trends. Number 25, CEOs will work hard to become more inclusive leaders or leave, like I was saying. College admissions are going to start looking at the whole person and not just their test scores. Gig economy jobs will get less miserable. Now, I guess you would coin what I do as a gig, because I'm a contractor. They're going to work harder to pay us better and make sure that we have health insurance. We already have options for that through the people we usually have to go to some kind of contract house to work at a company. I would love to go direct.
Yeah.
And I would love to not have to deal with them, but whatever. Let's see. Conscientious objectors will rise up at the workforce, which I said we were seeing at Google. Businesses will favor integrity over growth. Now, I'm not going to hold my breath, but I'd like to see that.
For people out there, Nano, just to kind of elaborate on that or expand on that, I mean, what we're talking about is when we had Google recently, the whole Dragonfly project, the censorship thing that was coming out in China, and we had people basically saying, whoa, this is going too far. I remember as well, was it their project at Moffett Field? The people saying, well, hang on, this is kind of crazy stuff. This is weapons we're working on, things like that.
Yes.
So
yes.
That's the kind of thing we're talking about here. And be it Facebook, maybe, be it Twitter, be it all these big tech companies, maybe they're just going to push too far to the point where people are, you know, like you say, conscientious objectors just can't do it.
Well, I think it's great. I think it's great. And I think the fact that they went after the CEO for sexual harassment, good for them. Why should the CEO, who has access to millions of dollars and a lawyer, you know, i.e., is it Larry Ellison over at Oracle? He's a known offender. He spent lots of money on sexual harassment cases. You know, that the people at Oracle should say, dude, we're done.
Yeah.
Stop it. You know, you're not anybody we respect. This is ridiculous in this day and age, you know, done. Let's see what else. I'm just going through Chief Ethics Officer will be the hot new C-suite title. Yeah, I told you.
Ethics officer.
Yep.
Yes, indeed.
Yep. We will, let's see. Oh, this one was interesting. We will reach peak outrage. Their comment is they feel like this is the year we're done getting so mad.
You mean we haven't reached peak outrage yet?
Evidently not.
I suppose France have. I think France have. That's what it looks like when you reach peak outrage. I don't know what it looks like in the UK, but maybe with peak outrage comes a change that we're all wanting, Nanogirl. One can but hope.
Well, again, we'll give AOC her due. She's taking her anger and doing something with it. I don't want her to go down that road, but then that's up to me to do something different. But she's taking her rage, which I think she has a lot of, and she's channeling it, and she's going to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't do something to counter it.
Agreed.
So, you know, I'm seeing people here around me. We're tuckered out. We're tired of it. We're tired of what it's done to our family and our friends. And I think we're also not. I've heard, the best comment I heard this last week too was nobody relates to the Democrats and the Republicans anymore.
No.
Like what are those?
Well, Nano, I have to ask you because somebody in the chat room and I heard it as well. But have you got your cat near you?
Yes.
We heard your cat. See, I just want to assure the listeners I'm not sitting here strangling a cat or anything. My cat's sleeping, so I thought it was Nanogirls. So yes, you did hear a cat in the chat room. You're not going mad. It's not cat to skull technology or anything like that. We're not trying to MK cat ultra you. Nothing like that. It's Nano has a cat, don't you?
Yeah, he's mad because he wants to go outside, and I'm trying to entertain him while I'm on the show.
Well,
he wants out.
I've said this to you before. Cats remember when they were royal in Egypt, when they were treated like royalty. It's only we forgot. They haven't.
No, they haven't forgotten. No, heck, no. He's a little Tonkinese, and he had his nap already, and he, you know, but I don't let him out without his like harness. And I'm one of those people that harness the cat because I live in a really busy area. So he can stay outside, but
California, everyone does that. That's normal in California, right?
There's so many cars. Oh, Nano is strangling the cat. Oh my God.
No, she's not. We promise
no,
she's not.
I'm not.
No cats and no monkeys were harmed during the making of this podcast.
No, they were not.
Nope.
Einstein, say more stuff to everybody.
She's got a cat called Einstein. How cool is that?
I know. I didn't name him. I can't claim the name, but I do love the name. He's so perfect. That's a perfect name for him. Anyway, let's see. Oh, they're going to start putting bugs on our salad. We're going to start eating bugs for protein. FYI, just to let you know.
No, I'm not. No, I am not.
I know. Let's see. Let me get to the last couple here. Corporate generosity will grow and help the bottom line. I think they've already done enough. Thank you. Oh, this one was interesting. We will ask ourselves hard questions about what free speech means. I'm not even going to touch that.
Free speech, again, like the dinosaurs, it's gone.
I know.
It's a thing of the past. Something people vaguely remember at some point, you know.
Brands won't be able to stay neutral. Leaders need to get clear on their own and their company's values. Decide which issues make the most sense to weigh in on and pre-plan how they will respond. Let's see. Oh, your next vacation may be in space or under the sea, and we will stop living an Insta life. That's number 50. We will stop living an Insta life.
I think
people are putting down their phones and turning off social media and reconnecting with each other.
Oh, that's good news. That is good news. Practically, I'm not seeing that yet around me physically. However, no. I hope to do so. But I think along with those vacations you were talking about there, how about the virtual vacation? That can't be too far away either, where we just basically, shove on the VR headset and we'll be living an experience through somebody else's eyes that have been to these various locations. I can see that very, very soon, Nano.
I think, like I said, I decided not to go through the tech stuff because I think everybody's kind of up to speed on it. But yes, I think the VR stuff is there. Internet of Things, AI, the autonomous cars, more, the usual suspects. All the connections, all the sensors, all that stuff is there and just kind of growing and getting out there more. I did notice, too, that there was articles about privacy. Supposedly, they're going to pay more attention to it. We'll see.
Yeah,
I'm holding my breath on that. So, what questions does anybody have for us?
Are we going to the chat room? Okay, we'll go to the chat room. I'll scroll right back up because there's been so much Nanogirl, honestly.
Okay.
And I want to thank everyone out there. I certainly haven't been able to keep up with all of the chat that's going on because if I'd done that, I wouldn't be able to listen and concentrate to what Nano's saying as well. So I'm glad Nano's got 10 minutes here. We can scroll back up. We can have a look at what some people were saying. We obviously heard about the cat. People were hearing about the cat, so I won't need to go over that one again. But I'll just randomly kind of start up here. And this is back when we were talking about France, obviously, Nano. We've got Buzzacino. Macron needs to stand down before he is taken down, and the people won't put up with much more. I think that's spot on. And you can see historically in France, when they want change at the very top, Nano, they go the full distance to get it, don't they? And I don't see the yellow vests backing down anytime soon.
This is weekend 13.
Wow.
And this group of people is just as large. Is it the guy that you had on your show recently that does trends? What's his name? Gerald Celente.
Gerald Celente, yeah.
What does he say? When you have lost everything and you have nothing to lose, you lose it.
People lose it. Absolutely.
Yep. And that's what I think we're seeing. They have nothing to lose. They've talked about giving them breaks and stuff like that, but these guys are there because they can't feed their kids. This isn't, hey, I don't have a second car and, any crap like that. It's like, I can't feed my family.
Yep. And we've got Jeremiah in the chat room saying, think about the growth of hate between government and their people in such a short time. Absolutely. Yeah. It feels like that's been moving at breakneck speed ever since Donald Trump got into office. Ever since we swapped out David Cameron, the old puppet, for the new puppet, Theresa May. And it's almost as if people are getting further and further divided from these politicians. And again, what does that tie into? If I'm looking at it big picture, probably the perfect time for them to make a push for a global government. But what say you, Nanogirl?
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that they fan the flames. Again, when you watching the State of the Union, Trump never gets a fair shake. I'm not defending the guy, but he never gets a fair shake. Everybody else gets press, but his is, they've already proved it. It's what, 80%, 90% negative. Yeah. So all you hear is the rancor and anger of these crazy people that are so leftist. They're so out there, nobody can relate to them. So it just fans the fire of hatred and discontent, and people are just so and they're frustrated. They're very frustrated. Yep.
So we've got in here as well. In the UK, while the ATMs are still working, the sheeple will remain sheeple. I can only agree with that. And it says Americans helped France during the Revolution War, and we can help them again. That's an interesting comment. What do you think to that, Nano?
I agree with you. And who's my a seething frog started a movement where you could start supporting them by wearing yellow vests. You can get them really cheap on Amazon. And because we could certainly use a yellow vest movement here. And speaking of banks, did you know that Wells Fargo went down over here in the U.S. the last 2 days?
Heard something about that, yeah.
Yeah, that's my bank.
I haven't looked too much into it, but I had heard that. We're always hearing about, financial collapses, things like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, is it quite a serious one for your bank, Nano?
Yeah. It was very serious in the sense that, and if you work in tech, it was so ridiculous. It's like, what the heck is happening? So basically, there was a fire at one of the sites. Well, don't tell me that everything isn't redundant out the UHA. They should have had so many redundant systems that this wasn't even an issue. But for some people, they couldn't they didn't get automatic deposits in their checking account. They couldn't do online banking, and they couldn't use their cell phones, the mobile stuff. And this went on for a couple of days. Not all the banks, but some of them. I kept checking my brands, or my guys here, but it was okay. But still, for a bank of Wells Fargo's size, to say that some fire in one of their places where they have all their servers, excuse me, don't you have redundancy on steroids?
You would think so. You would absolutely think so. I would agree with you there. Definitely. So I'm just looking down here now. We've got yellow vests need to be followed worldly. I agree with that in one respect. And then there's part of me that thinks, well, when you do protests like that, and I don't want to sound critical of these people because they're, like you said, they've got nothing left to lose. They're losing it. They want change. But it also plays into a police state's hands as well. Because not everyone goes out protesting, and by the time the mainstream media get a hold of it, it looks more like rioting than protesting, because they show you all the shops getting damaged and private vehicles getting damaged. And you do get members of the public going, well, this is outrageous. What are these rioters on about? And again, please don't think I'm calling the French people rioters, but this is how the media would play it if we all did start kind of revolting. And what does that lead to? It leads to maybe, curfews, more police state powers. So really, it's a catch-22. Yes, you need to protest, but at the same time, the state want you to protest because they need that bit of chaos, problem, reaction, solution to roll out measures they would never have got away with before. So it's horrible. It's that catch-22. I hate saying that, Nano, because I hate to sound negative about people out there putting their lives on the line, to try and get change. But at the same time, I can see how that can backfire, right?
Well, I have a different, I have close but a different point of view on this. My point of view is that every single country and culture has their own way of protesting and their own way of getting the message to their government or their leaders. I don't think it's been necessarily effective in the USA. I think polls, I think the speech that he gave, if she ends up, if our little head vampire in Congress ends up funding the wall, the polls actually made a difference, and his speech did. So we would have to give him credit and us credit for actually backing him up. The main reason I watched the speech was to back him up. You know how people say that about sports? If I don't watch, my team will lose. Normally, I don't buy into that, but I thought, well, the least I could do, since he's surrounded by all the vampires, is put in an hour of my time, because it was painful.
Vampires, I like that. Definite vampires.
I personally think it's working for the people in France because it's a cultural thing. I think the fact that they're showing up, they're being persistent, consistent, they're going on weekends, maybe that is going to work. I think what the people in Europe do, what you guys do in your country, that's why when people do YouTubes or do speeches and they're like, you need to get out there and you need to do A, B, and C. Well, I have gotten out there and I have done A, B, and C, and I didn't think it was very effective. Yeah. In fact, I thought it was rather stupid.
Yeah, the protests have been to I look back on it now and I think, wow, it was it got nothing done, and I really don't see the point. And the protests I've been at, that's just me personally. So I'm not. Everyone's experience is going to be different, but yeah. More on the protests here. It says the yellow vests are doing exactly what they're supposed to do, to validate force against civilian people. Need to protest with their wallets. Absolutely, you know, that's where you can hit them as well. And I did see, didn't get much mainstream coverage, surprise, surprise, that I think it was 2 weekends ago, they were actually going to boycott or blockade one of the Rothschild banks. Because this is another thing they're not telling you in the mainstream media. These people in France on the streets, they know what's happening. They know the players that are involved as well, and they know that Macron was a Rothschild banker. So they're trying to do as many things as they can to really affect change, and I hope they get it. I really, really do. And I'm looking down here, somebody's laughing because I mentioned the soy boy trousers. Well, no wonder. Running about in the middle of a protest in France with the whole jail gay trousers on, because that's what it is, folks. And I hate to say it, but that's where it comes from. It's males in jails, and when they lower their trousers like that, they're inviting a party. Why that caught on out here in the bigger world, I have no idea. Probably another part of the agenda to get rid of toxic males like me. Who knows? But it says here, people want the end times so Jesus can come back. Not a good plan. Then we've got Stephen Drysdale. Stay hidden for protection, otherwise stand up. And it says, Aqua here, good one. The only way is to use their money against them and boycott all non-UK goods. Voila, Brexit. Then we have got Aunt Nanny Granny. Love you, Aunt. See you all the time. Highway, not a comment for us. Armand, At the end of time, the end of time is coming when humans are restored back to the begging before we devolved. Time will turn off. Okay. I don't watch football until they allow protest. It's usually most vulnerable affected during the cuts. Absolutely. That's the way it always seems to be. It doesn't seem to be the millionaires that suffer, is it, Nano? Whenever they're making cuts for any government funding, finance and stuff like that. It's always crap rolls downhill. And we're at the bottom, right?
Yeah. No, it's we the people.
Yeah.
We the people.
We the people, and also the occasional synth as well, to be very soon. We've got here from Broadsword, Soros is behind Netflix, Obama and Susan Rice involved. Well, I'm not sure. I've never seen any, and I'm not doubting that Soros might have money in Netflix, but it might be one of the most enjoyable part of the Soros empire, because I do enjoy the odd program from Netflix. So I'm going to be a hypocrite there, Nano. I'm still going to support my Netflix. It says, this is from Bruise Me Not. Soros is behind all evil, it seems. He certainly has his finger in a lot of the pies, doesn't he, Nano? And you've got revolutions. You can look at the guy's history where he was helping put his fellow Jews on the train to go to the concentration camps. This is not a good dude. Not a good dude.
No. He's pretty ruthless. It's
absolutely
sad.
And you know, I was listening to, it was obviously Alex Jones around the time when Roger Stone got arrested, all that theatre that was going on. But they were talking about how, I think it was Jerome Corsi, had taken money from Soros in the past. And then they had on Wayne Madsen as well. And Wayne Madsen used to be somebody that was on Jonesy all the time, best of friends, it seemed. But yeah. he too was talking about how in the past, he says, well, Alex, I've taken money from a company associated to George Soros in the past. Doesn't necessarily make you a bad person, obviously. You know, Jonesy absolutely ripped his head off for that one. But, you know, Soros, he does seem to be involved with his money, with his various front companies, the Open Society as well. They've got their fingers in everything.
I think he's backed. I mean, I think a lot of people give him money as well.
Yeah.
And he's the bag man.
Yeah, that's a really good way.
Didn't you say that one time? I think you were the one that said that.
That's what I think. He's like the financier, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the bag man.
And he doesn't seem
And
to be bothered by it. He almost enjoys his kind of public bad guy role.
well, I always figure that people at that level that have all this money that have decided, it's like Schultz. It's just like Schultz from Starbucks. You mean you don't want me to run for president? Why not? Well, because you're a horse's ass.
We've got Anthony here, and some people were saying that I was running my intro while we were talking. We couldn't hear it on this end, but there must have been music playing with it, Nano. So I apologise if the intro was playing with music. I will remember that for the next time. Thank you very much, Bazzacino, and everyone else that mentioned it. And we've got Anthony here. Big shout out to Anthony over in Virginia. Says, I live in Virginia. They are being so dumb here. I drink well water, and the city water must be making them crazy. Well, you've got the city water, you've got the chemtrails, you've got the probably 5G as well now, Nano. There's a whole culmination of things making people crazy right now.
Well, do you think there's something going on there that all three of these people have been attacked at the exact same time?
How do you mean?
Well, the governor, was it the governor, the attorney general, and the guy below the governor? All three of them have, of all these scandals.
We always say things happen for a reason, right? And especially if we're told about it in the media, you could be very well right there. Now, what it is, I don't know, but I could definitely make a case for or look into something's going on there. The fact this is all high profile and all three at once.
It's kind of weird. And I got this idea. I was listening to Robert Phoenix, and he was saying, what do you guys think this is? He said, this is three people right at the top that are being attacked all at the exact same time. And he said, all this stuff, like the stuff with the blackface, this has been in their yearbook for years. Nobody found it before.
I know, that's, I'm not saying blackfacing is good or anything, but where does this stop, Nano? How far back do we need to go and drag things up? And again, it's ridiculous. And in this day and age, it's rightly frowned upon, and you don't hear about it so much. Every so often over here in the UK, I don't know why, but maybe Halloween parties, things like that, you get famous soccer players or you get the odd famous person who think it's all right to go and do that. It's just not to be done anymore. But I don't see the point in dragging up everything from the past at the same time. Where do you stop then?
I agree with you, and I don't know. And I did think a lot about this, the Virginia governor's thing. I thought that was a bridge too far for me to cross too. I was kind of thinking. I just thought it was in poor taste. It's never been in good taste. So, I don't know.
No, I'm with you there. We've got DJ B2, I like that. Old Billy Boy wants to euthanize the old and people in Africa. And if you listen to one of old Billy Boy Gates's talks, he talks about reducing the carbon footprint on the planet to zero. And if you actually think about that, that means reducing the population to zero. He also talks about death panels in that same speech. And for anyone new who hasn't seen that, I think you could probably find it on YouTube. Bill Gates, death panels, carbon, 0%. He's a character, Nanogirl, an absolute character, and somebody, again, we need to watch. And you look at his family history with eugenics, it's crazy.
I know. And the fact that Melinda came out and said, let's help the girls... Run!
I know, and Bruce Not Here says the Gates should be prosecuted for all their genocidal crimes. I agree with that. At least investigated first, and then we'll prosecute them, We've got Bill Gates, reminds me of a turtle that wouldn't turn over if it needed help, or sort of a turtle that he wouldn't turn over, sorry. I always butcher these comments, Nanogirl. But we come down here, says, I'm glad... guys that my age are stepping up against that stuff. They are true allies. I'm not sure what age group that is. We've got Armand. Armand's talking about the groovy graphics I've been using. Again, sorry for the volume being up. We've got somebody referring to my Gillette comment. They say, Gillette, question mark? No, more a chic kind of vibe here. I like that, yeah. Jeremiah, I'm an Old Spice man. I'm an anything but Gillette man these days. It says Stephen Drysdale. You may possess the seed does, but mean you can germinate them. They're all one and the same. As you know, it's one big club, all of them. And I would think that's politicians, corporations, elites, Nanogirl. All the same club, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think Nanogirl's cat's demanding we get out for a walk soon, so we'll speed through these last bit of questions here.
No, I was reading. This is why I don't read the chat during the show, because I'm reading.
No, if you found one, you read it out, because you can tell reading isn't my big thing. So if you find any good ones.
Here's this. This is from Digivox. Alexandria occasional cortex is batshit insane.
See that? You can't say that on here. She's my poster girl. No, I'm only joking. No, I'll just have to go and
after I read it, I realized we have the family-friendly show. Sorry, guys.
No, nothing family-friendly. I'm just more butthurt that nobody likes my new poster girl in politics. I can't believe it. I actually got less reaction, Nanogirl, when I liked Sarah Palin. Can you imagine that? Sarah Palin isn't the most hated person in politics anymore.
She was.
I know. Strange times.
Well, now we've got AOC.
Yep.
And I like the fact that we can just use her initials, AOC. But in her defense, we now know where she comes from, how she got there, why she feels so passionate about the things she feels about. Maybe I could be more reasonable, although I doubt it. I'll try about her presentations. Anyway.
It says here, Saggy, big shout out to Saggy. Nanogirl is great. And how do I connect with her for a podcast? Well, I've been trying to get Nanogirl to do her own podcast for years, so hopefully sometime in the future I'll get Nanogirl back on a regular basis on the Kev Baker Show. And we'll all be the wiser for that. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we can make that happen sometime soon. Keep coming down here. We've got a hello from Sue. Time flies when you're having fun. It surely does. Try to see if there's any questions for Nano. Any highlighted here? Elon's tunnel company is called the Boring Company. It really is boring. I agree with you there. We've got colleges will look at people's social media and they will be given deference dependent on how leftist, progressive the applicant is. Should be illegal. It should be illegal, but I think there's probably a bit of truth in that comment there from Bruise Me Not. Because it seems like the colleges, if they don't go in with a leftist progressive attitude, Nanogirl, they certainly get brainwashed into that, right?
You know, and isn't that a lot like what's going on in China, the whole social media thing, that you're being judged on that social media?
I think we need to get ready for that being global.
I think so.
Yeah. I imagine a lot of employers right now might not admit it, but they're probably looking at people applying for jobs and straight onto Facebook, search that name, see. It'll give them a kind of idea of who they're dealing with. I think it's almost human nature that people would do that. But when that starts becoming something that can hinder you in life, i.e. maybe you don't get a job, you don't get into college, you're not allowed to travel on public transport because you spoke out against the government or you posted a story that's, air quotes, fake news, it's a very, very dangerous and slippery slope indeed. And again, that kind of stuff rolls downhill. And you can bet everyone at the bottom will find it harder and harder than those that have money and those that are closer to the top, right? Because that's set to really affect, your ordinary working class people, Nano, as opposed to the ones that are owning and running companies, I imagine.
I've always felt that it was really unfair to get fired from your job for something you did online that had absolutely nothing to do with your, with your job.
Yeah,
like if you did something stupid on Facebook, minus you killed somebody or raped somebody or something that horrible, why should you be fired from your job?
I mean, I get
you
it.
didn't do it on job time.
Exactly. I can get there might be a case to be made if you've done it on their equipment at the office. However, if you're not working and you're in your own time, not getting paid by anybody. Who the hell has got any right to say that they can sack you for something you have said or something you've done? That's ridiculous. It really, really is.
I agree.
Yep.
God, what happened recently? Somebody, this was something here. God, what was it? I'm trying to think. There was something, a guy was wearing a Trump t-shirt working out in a gym. And this was in the Bay Area, of course, where, whiny people central. And somebody got offended at the gym and said that was a weaponized t-shirt or I don't know, some crap. So the guy went over to the table to the people running the place and said, "I'm out of here." He'd been going to the gym for 8 years. He said, "You know what? If I want to wear a Trump t-shirt, I can." So they said, "Fine, we'll see you later." And this other gym reached out to him and said they'd come to their gym. He could wear the shirt all he wanted to, and it was for free.
I like it. I do. Scrolling down here. Musk is a robot. We've all thought it may be some tech in him. I've never, ever thought Elon Musk is a robot, and I know there's plenty of people do. I remember his interview with Joe Rogan, Nanogirl, and that really, people who didn't really buy into the whole robot clone thing with Elon Musk, a lot of people started talking about it after that. Again, I just put it down to the way he is. I think he's autistic, on the autistic spectrum. I've got no kind of anything to back that up. I just think he's different. But do you think there's a chance he's a robotoid, as Jimmy Jeans would call him, or a clone, or a synth? What do you think?
Musk?
Yeah.
No. I don't think he's a robot. I don't. I don't think he's. Not every CEO is someone who speaks. Okay, case in point. My friend talking about what's his face from Facebook, right?
So Zuckerberg. Now, Zuckerberg, again, I think he's human, but I'd make more of a case for him being a clone.
Me too.
Yeah.
And way more. But he said that, and they call it under the tent, in the room where they're all at, he's a nice guy. He's personable. He shares with his employees. They really like him. And he's very approachable.
You see, there you go. He's a different kind of side.
That's not how he That's not how he showed up in Washington, D.C.
No, absolutely not. He was one of the most awkward people ever. But again, isn't it strange that we can sit here, Nano, and have a serious conversation about whether somebody is human or not? That's the times that we're living in, though, where that actually becomes a conversation now. It's bizarre.
I still think that Hillary or whoever shows up being Hillary is a clone.
Yeah, that's why I don't knock it. That's why I don't knock people who question Musk and others, because, like you're saying, I like you, I think there are clones out there. Be they just doppelganger doubles or what, but with the technology they've got, I'm pretty sure they can probably clone anything now, right? So no,
or just a double. All she has to do is they just get someone who's plastic surgery, fix up her face. She still looks younger than she should, and she shows up so that the Hillary machine that's good at generating money keeps going.
Yeah. And I think anyone in that high office or with kind of desires for high office, they've all got body doubles, right? It seems to be the done thing if you're like a world leader or high up in government, something like that. They say it's for security purposes. Yeah, whatever. But the point is that it does happen. Absolutely. And then with the technology they've got, I don't blame people for asking, or thinking somebody might well be cloned. I don't hold that against anyone, because it's the kind of stuff we talk about all the time. We know they've got the technology. I mean, you do see people acting strangely, like Zuckerberg at Congress, and Musk was a bit strange, also highly stoned on the Joe Rogan show. So I please don't think I criticize anyone for thinking that. I don't, because that's the weird world that we live in nowadays. And if we come down, we'll keep coming down here. It says, Nano is strangling the cat. Not at all. Never. Somebody shouting your cat. I seen a really interesting comment not long ago, and I'm going to scroll down for it.
Okay.
It was somebody talking about how, I think we might have missed it. Maybe. No, scroll back up here. It was somebody mentioning they were quite young, Nano.
Yeah, he's 25.
Yeah, did you see that one?
I did, and he said, let's see, Dodger, I think it was Dodger, said he was 25 and watching what he does on social media. Dodger, I hope let's see, because he's
Try to
one of
scroll up
the,
to find it, yeah.
so Dodger, I hope I got that quote right.
Chat's been moving too fast here.
Yeah. So maybe you could repeat it for us. But yeah, I saw that where I'm being very careful what I do on Facebook and stuff, right?
Somebody tell me I need
Here it is. I'm 25. That's why I don't show my face. Need a good job when I get out of school. They check your social media when you apply. Amen to that.
Yeah. Robert telling me I need to look into flat earth. I don't need to look into flat earth because I'm in the unique position where I'm on Truth Frequency Radio and we have our own hosts that cover flat earth. I don't make a thing about the earth being a globe, a flat plane, a hemorrhoid-shaped object. I couldn't give a damn because in the end of the day, what difference does it make when we wake up tomorrow? We've still got our bills to pay. Absolutely everything we've spoken about here tonight doesn't change overnight. So it's not my thing, Robert. It really isn't. And as a guy who's worked with satellites, and I know you'll think satellites are fake, I'm just not here to argue that. I think there's more important things in the world. And like I say, if you're into flat earth, I'm lucky because I can tell you to go and check out all of the shows over on Truth Frequency Radio. So, scrolling down again, Trump 2020, make valid US passports a requirement to vote and receive welfare. USA first, no illegals. And then we've got is Zuckerberg, that is a robot. Somebody agreeing with us there, Nanogirl. You're not registering my text because you're being controlled. Wake up. Well, the fact I've read that out hopefully will show that we're not being controlled. And we've got somebody here called Randy. It's saying hello from Alberta, Canada. Awesome. Love Canada. Love Canadians. Absolutely brilliant. John Nelson says Earth is donut-shaped, jelly-filled with raspberry. I like that. That's going to be my new go-to comment when people keep on telling me to look at the flat earth. I'm going to tell them to sit back and take a bite out the donut. Jed Bush, banned from the Patriot soapbox. Well, welcome to the club, brother. Welcome to the club. You know, it turns out that Pamphlet and On really doesn't take kindly to you dropping the link for the video exposing himself as Q in the Patriot soapbox. And for once, I found myself banned, Nanogirl. Go figure.
Oh.
Yes, I know. Imagine banning me. That's terrible.
No sense of humor.
No, none whatsoever. Earth is flat. See, this is what happens when that comes into the chat room. Everyone starts going down that road. I don't get it.
Here it is. How about this one? I think the Earth is a snow globe. I like that, Dodger.
See, the guy that's saying that we're controlled because we're not reading out the comments says, damn, and this is the truther movement. I'm not feeling it. You know, I don't even like calling it truth community. I don't like calling us all awake. We're just people. We're just individuals trying to make sense of the world. And don't put yourself in a box and, you know, you're not feeling it. That's cool. Maybe this channel isn't for you, anti-Illuminati. Maybe, you know, that's all I can say. We're just trying to make sense of the world. Sure, definitely we're not going to sensationalize things and promise to save the world here or save all the children from the bad guys. You're not going to get that on here because that's unrealistic. And his next comment was, later sheep. That's cool. So we're all sheep. Well, I would say probably people who follow the motto of where we go one, we go all. Something every good sheep learns on its way out the pen. You can be removed from the chat. So I
don't think that those terms are current. You know, the truther movement and all that. I think like the Republican and the Democrat terms, things have changed so much that whatever that might have meant in the past, it no longer means.
Yeah. No, sorry, Nano. I was reading the comments as they came in there. So it was Dodger was saying, all I care is that the earth is flat under my feet. I like that. That's all we care about. But Nano, you're going to be back on the Kev Baker show soon, right?
Yes. Yes, I am. Yeah, I'll have to make a note of that for March. But is this February?
No, it's you're actually back on in February, I think. Just going to dig it up.
No, this is February. This is
Yes, we're in
February
February
9th.
now. And you're on a week on Monday, on the 18th of February.
No, we canceled that one because I thought that we had President's Day off. Remember? Did you remember we canceled that one?
Yes, I do now. I do.
Okay.
That's okay. So it's just as well I checked that with you, Nano. Or else I'd have been sitting there, looking at the calendar thinking, yeah, we're cool. We've got Nano on the Monday the 18th, so I'll take that one out just now. But you are back on. Well, we'll fix something up after the show, I'm sure.
That would be, I definitely, I miss your show.
Well, we'll get this, Nano Girl. Before we go, I have to tell you this because you'll probably fall off the chair. Unirock wants you to head on over to his show sometime, and I think that'd be absolutely fantastic. And Uni, I've told you, man, if there's anyone I get on the show and you want them on your show, just let me know. I'm not one of these people that's going to hoard guests or keep somebody to myself. Absolutely not, dude. Just hit me up. And anytime, anyone out there, I know Dodger, he's got a YouTube channel. Any other YouTubers, if you want somebody I've had on and I can help you, that's what it's all about, right? I know people say this isn't the truth community in here, but I think they've got a wrong idea of what this is all about. So, yeah, definitely, and I look forward to that one. Look forward to seeing you on with Unirock, Nano Girl.
That would be awesome. And you know what would be fun is to get all three of us together.
Yes, although the rumor goes that you can't get all three of us in the room at the same time because actually, I don't know. I was going to crack a joke there, but I lost it.
It says, and he says, definitely, Kev, you should come by too. See?
I forgot my joke, but I got one laugh because Anne is sitting howling at me now. So everything's good, Nano Girl.
I love it. That's hilarious.
So on that note, I think, I'm not going to say we're out of time because we're not out of time. There's no time limit. But I think we will let everyone get back to their day. And I'm sure Unirock, if you drop in the chat, Uni, when you're going to be going live tonight, please let us know. And I'll give that a shout out here before we go. Somebody saying I need to get Joseph Farrell on. I would love to get Joseph Farrell on. Absolutely love that guy. I really do.
Yeah.
I love all of that kind of circle of people, Nano. You've got the Walter Bosleys, dark journalist. Joe from the Carolinas I throw in there as well, man. Great guy. Absolutely. Yep.
He's a total sweetheart. And I think all of the ones that you mentioned are great. They're really interesting. They've done their research. And, you're not talking to somebody who hasn't gone in and really done the hard work.
And when it comes to Farrell, he's got a lot of the historical side of it, like the Nazis and moving. Yeah, so absolutely. So then, I think we'll just take our leave, Nano Girl, shall we?
Well, can I say thank you? Thank you to everybody who has dropped by today. It's been so fun to talk to you guys, and thank you for letting me do a little cathartic chatting about the AOC.
And you're going to be on camera soon as well, right? For maybe not the next time, but definitely soon, we will have Nano Girl on camera for sure.
Yeah, I got to get my cam and whatever you call that. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Yep, got to set it up because I have the new system, but it doesn't come with a camera, so I have to set up the whole camera thing. So that would be kind of cool. And then I can show you my 4,000 pages of notes.
At least 4,000 per show. And a big shout out to all of the mods out there, Dodger, Kristen, everyone. What a great job. And again, stole them all from Unirock's channel, so I know they know what they're doing, and it really makes it a far more pleasurable experience. I don't mind people disagreeing or bringing up Flat Earth, but when it starts getting offensive and personal and only about Flat Earth, then you know the score. So, Nano, I want to thank you for being here tonight. I want to thank everyone out there. Remember, tune into Unirock later on. If you haven't subbed to Uni, do that. If you haven't subbed to Armand in the chat room, do that. Dodger as well. I've seen Glow in there earlier on. And War. Anyone that wants to drop a YouTube channel link in there now that we're going, no problem at all, folks, okay? So from me and Nano Girl, until next time, I would say wherever you are, make it TFR, but you already know that. And stay tuned for more from KBS Live, probably tomorrow with Jimmy Jeans, provisionally. Stay tuned. Later, folks.
Later.
Doo-doo-doo. Yeah, we'll get the music back on now. There we go. I think there's music on. Hopefully there's music on for you people still in the chat room right now.